and Chris Schultz. Chris Cuthbert and Glenn Suter standing by to call this game. There are many, many stories in this game, but we're going to start with the main one, Henry Burris, who broke all career marks for himself in all the main quarterback categories, but he's 1-4 in the playoffs as a starter. Today, all eyes are on him to see if he can lead this team to a Grey Cup, John.
I'm not the least bit worried about Henry Burris. I think he's going to have an excellent game, and I think the past is in the past. I've loved watching him play this year. There's so many aspects of his ball game that have just taken a step forward, and I'm going to show you a couple of them. And one of them is how he uses misdirection when dealing with opponents. You know, as a quarterback, it's not enough just to drop back and get the ball down the field. You've got to be able to use pump fakes and get the defense jumping on things, and he does that extremely well. And the other thing he does, and here's just an example of this. I mean, this is going to get the defense running in the opposite direction. The other thing he does is ball placement. It's called throwing your receivers open. And one of the ways he does that, the throw behind. He uses the throw behind pass better than any quarterback in the league, bar none. I'm going to be looking to see him using the pump fake and the throw behind in this ball game, Maddie.
Jock, you're absolutely right. I can tell you that, you know, typically when we're talking to the BC Lions, we would talk G-Roy Simon or we would talk the quarterback, Buck Pierce. But in my opinion, the most electrifying player on that football team is Stefan Logan, the small running back, the rookie running back that simply when he touches the ball, he makes things happen. The last time he played the Calgary Stampeders, he had 226 total yards. That's 88 in the air and 138 on the ground. This kid is electrifying when he touches the football, and it'll behoove Buck Pierce and G-Roy Simon. This kid has the success he's had against the Stampeders this year, Chris.
You know, the thing about Stefan Logan, he has an explosiveness about him that you only have with young legs. And the exact same with Joffrey Reynolds. Both of those kids have opportunities to be the hero, but it's going to get down to the two people that handle the ball the most, Buck Pierce and also Henry Burris. Now, in a game like this, you're always worried about making mistakes. You're always worried about avoiding that bad play. Hey, if you think it's a negative play, take off and run. The quarterback that makes the cheap first downs, when it's a second and long scenario and can run for an extra first down, that's the quarterback that's going to have the great day. The arms are important, but I think in a playoff game, the legs are of equal importance.
The BC Lions were the West Division champs for the last 4 years. They come in after winning last week on the road in Regina. They're the road team in Calgary, facing the Stampeders, G-Roy Simon, Buck Pierce, and the Lions, led by Wally Buono, who used to be the head coach here. It's the West Final, and it's coming up next on the CFL on TSN.
Thank you, David. You're watching TSN, proud home of the CFL playoffs and the Grey Cup game. Yes, Montreal awaits, and now BC and Calgary will lock horns to complete the 2008 Grey Cup marquee. And what a sensational November Saturday afternoon. Breeze shouldn't be much of a factor here, and a sellout crowd enjoying 7-degree temperatures. There's Wally Buono, coaches his 16th Western Final, 5th consecutive with the Lions, and 3-0 on the road yet. 0-3 this year against his old colleague, John Huffnagel, who makes his playoff debut as a head coach in the Canadian Football League and knows that the only matchup against BC that really matters now is this one.
And what an important game for Henry Burris. For quarterbacks, the defining moment for them in their career is when they win championships. Henry Burris has to get there to face that defining moment, and he has had some problems in the playoffs. He has to exercise those demons in this one. Calgary Stampeders, 13 wins in the regular season.
Henry Burris, arguably the best CFL quarterback ever not to play in the Grey Cup game. Well, McMahon Stadium is the home of the 2009 Grey Cup, but these two teams are only interested right now in punching a ticket to the big game in 2008 in Montreal in 8 days. There's Ian Smart awaiting the opening kickoff as the BC Lions will get their hands on the football first and have that slight breeze at their back in the opening quarter.
These two teams faced each other 3 times in the regular season. The Calgary Stampeders winning all 3, including the last game of the regular season, which the Lions said was embarrassing.
Well, the Stamps like to wear their black uniforms for special events like Labor Day, and this Western Final is on from McMahon with Ian Smart up across the 30, 35, and finally stopped at the 41-yard line. And Buck Pierce will lead the Lions offense onto the field coming off his playoff debut last week that got some mixed reviews, but I thought all in all it was a strong performance by the young quarterback.
Well, it certainly was, because he got the win in hostile territory, Mosaic Stadium in Saskatchewan. Stephon Logan, one of the most dynamic players to play in the Canadian Football League in a long time. There's a receiving core with Geroy Simon, Jason Claremont inside, and the offensive line, Jimenez and Murphy at tackles.
And they'll have to deal with some Stampeder fan noise early, and a quarterback draw, so Buck Pierce goes to work on the ground, and he'll get down at midfield, close to 15 for Pierce on the opening play.
BC Lions taking a play out of the Calgary playbook right out of the gate to try and settle down the young buck at the quarterback position. And I say that because of the final 4 quarterbacks heading into this weekend. Buck Pierce, of course, the youngest with the least amount of experience.
They mark it just beyond the 53, so it's a 13-yard run. High formation, and now Lyle Green in motion, and Stephon Logan with a cutback. And Logan with a huge hole, and is tripped up at the Stampeder 40-yard line. He chewed up big yardage 2 weeks ago, 226 from scrimmage against the Calgary defense.
Yeah, he'll be the #1 target for this defense that are led by Charleston Hughes up at the defensive end. 12 tackles for losses. That led the Canadian Football League for Charleston Hughes. Jawan Armour in 3 games versus BC, 16 tackles. That led all of his teammates on defense. There's the secondary, one change there. J.R. Ruffin playing at halfback in his first game of the season.
And that will be an interesting storyline to follow. 16 for Logan. Back-to-back first downs, and time for Buck Pierce to throw. And that one incomplete. Intended for Logan.
Buck Pierce over 3,000 yards on the season, winning his first playoff game, his first start last week. These BC Lions gave him excellent field position in that game in the playoffs in the semifinal with 4 turnovers in the first quarter. He didn't capitalize on those turnovers, but didn't have to. Had a very good second half.
2nd and 10 after the incompletion at the Stamp 41-yard line. And Pierce guns over the middle, complete and a first down, and that is the rookie Ryan Grice-Mullen.
Last game of the regular season, Ryan Grice-Mullen got his first start and a chance to play against this same Calgary Stampeder football team, and was the leading receiver in that loss for the BC Lions. He had 5 catches in that game, 113 yards and a touchdown. So right out of the gate here, first series for BC, Buck Pierce goes to that familiar target against this team.
15 for Grice-Mullen. He had a 67-yard touchdown here 2 weeks ago, a game in which BC was dominated, and yet at the end of the day it racked up 499 yards of offense and some early movement on that offensive line, and it looked like the right guard Shirko Haji Razuli.
Well, we have a sellout here at McMahon Stadium.
Procedure. BC, number 55. It's a 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
And that crowd may have caused some problems for the offensive line for the BC Lions. Haji Razuli gets called there. The legal procedure. It looked like Buck Pierce was trying to change the play on the line of scrimmage, and that caused the confusion.
Haji Razuli, a valuable guy who did not play in last year's Western Final, and they missed him, especially when his backup Dean Valley went down with a concussion. 1st and 15, and there is Logan with another burst, 10-yard side, and he's already putting on a show. Driven out of bounds late. Don't see a penalty flag, but Logan now slow to get up as he's tangled up with the camera at the 15-yard line.
Boy, he can cut on a dime and give you change in the hole. This guy can make you miss in a phone booth. Number 26, Stephon Logan, one step to his right. Look at the hole on Jawan Armour. Big cut to the outside there on the defensive secondary, and then he gets pushed out of bounds. He was still inbounds when he got the push. It was just hard enough to take him onto that natural grass on the outside here at McMahon Stadium.
The safety Lysak with the jolt at 16 yards and another first down, and the Lions say they're learning more about Stephon Logan every week, and they like what they see. This time the toss left side, and for the first time the Stamps rally to Logan in a hurry, and not much there as Charleston Hughes, first man to make contact. What a year for Hughes, who led all defensive linemen with 66 tackles.
I mentioned the 12 tackles for losses, and Charleston Hughes, number 39, right there. Watch him step up the field. He's the guy who has to turn it inside to his teammates. He'll actually spin out of there. Jason Jimenez is trying to block him. He'll take it outside, contain Logan, make him turn into the teammates, and get some help from the rest of that defense.
That time they stopped Logan, no gain, 2nd and 10 from the 15. Pierce with time out of the backfield. Logan, that's busted up, but a nice play by Dwayne Carpenter.
Dwayne Carpenter will be a substitution linebacker. He comes in passing downs, and of course, 2nd and long, a passing down. These two teams were talking in warm-up, and that continues in this first drive. But Carpenter is a pure cover guy at the linebacking spot, and he is in the one-on-one on Stephon Logan on that play, is in perfect position.
So Paul McCallum comes on. And sizes up what will be a 22-yard attempt. And the first points of the 2008 Western Final go to the BC Lions. Just past the 4-minute mark, opening quarter, and Calgary will take the football at their own 35-yard line, and a strike thrown by Henry Burris to Nick Lewis on the opening offensive play for the Stampeders.
First time in Calgary Stampeder history, they had the leading rusher in Joffrey Reynolds, number 21 in the backfield, and the leading receiver in the Canadian Football League in Kenyon Rambo, the wide receiver who plays well against the BC Lions, has all year 200-yard games against them. And there's that young offensive line we talked about all year with the rookies Jesse Newman and Dimitri Shumpas inside of guards.
Trying to end a 3-game playoff losing streak. 2nd and 7, and that pass guarded for Kenyon Rambo incomplete. Burris wants a flag, but none on the carpet, and the trash talking continues. It's a 2-and-out for the Stampeders.
Well, game 1 versus BC, Rambo had 8 for 136. Game 2, he had 5 for 105. He's running the dig route there, which is down the field about 12 yards, and then right across the middle, LeVar Glover saying, not this time.
The lockdown corner. LeVar Glover makes the play, and Ian Smart has dropped deep. Burt Dale's number 1 in the CFL in net punting yardage this year. Gets set to kick for the first time. And again, Calgary kicking into the breeze. And with an alignment problem here.
Time count violation. Calgary, number 16, that's a 5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
So an early special teams mistake has them marching back 5.
Well, you know, it starts out with that good drive by BC to start the football game. You know, John Huffnagel's had a good week of practice. They felt that they were focused in their last workday this week, but loose.
High kick, not deep. Fielded by Smart on the 40 and nailed. That'll be a 15-yard, no yards against Brandon Browner, the Arrow, who has been called on more than one occasion for that. Welcome back to McMahon, sold out, and on the sidelines, Jack Climbey.
Guys, you happen to notice the bad blood between these two football teams? I mean, this started during the week. Calgary Stampeders felt very disrespected by all the smack talking going on the BC Lions side of the football. And now, of course, in pregame warm-up, it carried through. We saw LeVar Glover giving it to Sandro DeAngelis. Jeff Pilon got involved. And then Otis Floyd got into it with Joanne Armour. Otis was reminding Joanne who backed up who when they played together in BC. Matt, these teams don't like each other.
Yeah, Jock, and it's not so much the Stampeders that feel disrespect. It's the BC Lions, and they're trying to gain respect by being more physical. And it's exactly what they did in that first drive, talking with a shoulder pads and helmet and jamming it down the Calgary Stampeders defense. And that's exactly what they want to do here. They want to take Otis Floyd's mantra and his quote from last week and simply step up to the plate and hit Stampeders right in the mouth.
Well, Jock will be patrolling the Calgary sidelines. Matt on the Lions side of the field. And that's BC with the football on Calgary's 53-yard line after the 15-yard penalty. They look for G-Roy Simon. And Buck Pierce overthrows the intended target. And they talked about Otis Floyd. I love the quote from somebody that Floyd's like that loud uncle at your family reunion. and he does stir things up.
Yeah, and Matt was talking about the physical play in the trenches, and that is one of the reasons the Lions have lost all 3 games in the regular season to this Calgary Stampeder team, because they lost the game in the trenches. They lost that battle at the line of scrimmage.
2nd and 10 BC. Short drop, and the pass off the fingertips, and it has been intercepted. Dwayne Anderson, the corner, able to come down with the football. There is a penalty marker in the offensive backfield.
There is, and Juwan Armour looks like he's trying to argue his position.
Foul, roughing the passer, Calgary number 2. 15-yard penalty, first down.
Now 2 15-yard penalties against the Stamps in 3 plays, and this one takes a turnover off the board.
Well, first of all, the Calgary Stampeders are everyone on the line of scrimmage, including their secondary, and Juwan Armour is right there. Number 2, he's the top linebacker on the line of scrimmage, comes off the edge. Now, Lyle Green takes him initially. He goes through there and hits Buck Pierce low in the legs. You can't do that.
That was a rule implemented a couple of years ago to protect the quarterbacks. And instead of a Calgary interception, it's a British Columbia first down at the 38, back to Logan. Another penalty marker, and this play, I think, was halted prior to the snap of the football.
Calgary Stampeders this year on defense have asked their secondary to roll up and play press coverage.
Procedure, BC 60, not set for a second, remains first down.
When you take a look at the secondary, this is what they're going to give you. Look at this, bump press coverage up here. He's going to walk up in the second of the snap. There's press, there's press, there's press coverage. Everybody on the line of scrimmage. The Lions are going to see a whole bunch of that from this Calgary secondary. The question is, can they make the big play? Chris Jones, the defensive coordinator, loves to get after it and play aggressive defense.
Second procedure call against the Lions. It's 2nd and 15, quarterback draw. And Buck Pierce can't get by Mike Labinjo, who wrestles him down behind the line of scrimmage. And there's another marker on the field as the tempers have boiled over already here in Calgary.
Now, there is a way that you can beat press coverage. In fact, there's a couple of ways.
Holding, BC number 56. That penalty is declined. It's second down.
Mike Labinjo fought through the hold of Rob Murphy to make that play.
Chris Jones' theory on that press coverage is that it makes the quarterback make the perfect throw because there is a man close to every receiver. The downside of it is if you get Geroy Simon, if you can get Paris Jackson on a deep route to shake his man at the line of scrimmage, you have the chance for a big play.
Penalty decline, they take the loss. It's 2nd and 18. Here comes pressure, they dump it off, and Logan's got it. Reversing field, Stephon Logan can't get outside as he's brought down on a terrific tackle by J.R. Ruffin in his first game of 2008, coming off a terrible knee injury after 5 games of the 2007 season.
Well, and we'll watch J.R. Ruffin in coverage as well to see if they can, the BC Lions, can get maybe a one-on-one matchup with Geroy Simon on J.R. Ruffin. Now, on this play, Buck Pierce is forced to dump it off to Stephon Logan, and Ruffin just rallies for the tackle.
Big defensive stand, sending BC backwards and out of field goal range. So McCallum angles the punt, and this one's going to bounce into the end zone. And Marcus Howell let it go through the back line. There are markers on the field once again.
See what the flag is. The special teams are often a brawl for 45 yards as the cover team tries to get down the field and the return team tries to stop them from doing it. Guys on the sideline mentioned the bad blood.
This looks like it's going to be a 60-minute brawl. There was talk, especially on the Calgary side, that the Lions quit 2 weeks ago in the late stages. There was a submission and a tap out. I don't think we're going to get one of those today.
No, guarantee that won't happen. And yes, there was motivation in that last game of the regular season, but not like West Final.
Still giving the options to the Lions, so we'll step out and be right back to the 2008 West Final. Well, the score remains 3-0. There was a penalty against Calgary, holding call against Brandon Browner that was flagged at the 10. The Lions take that penalty, half the distance to the goal line, back to the 5, and that's where Henry Burris goes to work, deep in his own zone. There's that zone read play and a keeper for Burris, and he'll get out of bounds, a first down, and give the Stamps offense a little bit of breathing room against this all-star laden Lions defense.
Yeah, just 2 all-stars on the offense for the Calgary Stampeders, the #1 team in the West. 5 on the Lion defense, including 3 of those 4 on the defensive line. Cameron Wake, the leader. We've talked at length during the season about him and will again here this afternoon. There's the linebacking core and 2 all-stars in the CFL in the secondary, Baron Miles and Dante Marsh.
The 11-yard run for Burris, who was 8th in the league in rushing, and they go, hurry up here, no huddle. And a first down up at the 16-yard line. And Burris throws Jermaine Copeland the catch, and he's drilled out by the all-Canadian corner Dante Marsh.
Henry Burris has got to try and exercise some demons here in this playoff game, and that's the goal for him, is to lead this team to protect the football. Dave Randorf, just before the game, mentioned that Henry Burris 1-4 in the playoffs, and it's been that turnover problem over the last 3 years. As a member of the Calgary Stampeders that he's trying to avoid and eliminate in this one.
4 for Copeland, again, no huddle, 2nd and 6. A pump for Burris, and now scampering, and he'll be brought down short of the first down at the 24-yard line.
John Huffnagel has helped tremendously, trying to take some of the burden off of Henry Burris and tell him to manage the game. He doesn't have to win the game, and try and avoid some of the turnover problems that he has had. 7 interceptions, 2 touchdowns in his last 3 playoff games. He's also had some fumbles. In fact, 10 turnovers for Henry Burris in 12 quarters in the playoffs over the last 3 years. That's what he's trying to eliminate. So far, so good in this football game, but Burris is trying to cut that out, and they feel if they can do that, they should win this game.
Slow start for that.
Heads up!
Stamps offense. We saw it from Montreal in the opening quarter of the Eastern Final. Ian Smart up close to the 50-yard line. Marcus Howell down first on the cover team. Presented by Wendy's, Sunday, November 23rd on TSN.
And the home team is waiting. The Montreal Alouettes, congratulations to them, their win in the Eastern Final earlier this afternoon.
Lions trying to make it the same matchup as 2006. Haven't had a Calgary-Montreal Grey Cup since 1970. Buck Pierce, G-Roy Simon with the catch at the Calgary 30-yard line.
There's the matchup we talked about. G-Roy Simon, the first chance that Buck Pierce got to go to this one-on-one on J.R. Ruffin. Ruffin has not played a game in 2008. He played 5 games in 2007 with the injury to Walls. He was inserted into the lineup. Inside position by G-Roy Simon on Ruffin. Nice swim move. Gets right down the seam, and a big play for the Lions.
31 yards. BC did not have a receiver over 50 yards last week in the semifinal in Regina. Here's Logan. And more positive running yards for the diminutive scat back. 7 for Stefan Logan.
It's very difficult to game plan and put your entire game plan on G-Roy Simon and say, if we get that matchup, we're going there every time. They want to be careful, the Lions, not to lock Buck Pierce into going to G-Roy Simon too much. Jock Chapdelaine, offensive coordinator, said, yes, they're aware of the matchup. They're aware of the opportunity there possibly, but they don't want to get Buck Pierce too locked in because Chris Jones can come with a lot of pressure from a lot of different areas, and they could get Buck Pierce hurt.
Give Logan 8. 2nd and 2 Back to Logan again, right side, first down. And Logan finally taken down at the 13 by Juwan Armour. Stefan Logan with 291 yards rushing in his last 2 starts.
The other thing, Chris, is I mentioned that the Calgary playing aggressively on defense. One way for the offense to beat that when you're up in press coverage is to try and make the big play in the passing game with your receivers on a deep ball. The other way is to run the football because those DBs have turned their back to the play. They can't help the front 7.
First and 10 at the 12. And Pierce to throw. And that one over the head to Logan coming out of the backfield.
This is a changeup, it looks to me, for the Calgary Stampeders. This is a play that worked in the last game of the regular season for BC. They bring Stefan Logan out of the backfield. Logan right there in the middle of your screen there. He's going to come out of the backfield to his left, and usually it's a linebacker that will pick him up. The Calgary Stampeders have gone this time with Wes Lysak, number 31, the safety, who stepped in between that and made Buck Pierce throw it over his head. That means the safety's out of the middle, however.
Second and 10, and Jawan Simpson checks in on defense for the Stamps. And Pierce flush throws it end zone. And incomplete. Ryan Greismullen, and he just got out of the way of a train.
Oh, did he ever? And I was going to say that Buck Pierce threads the needle here. I mean, he doesn't have a very big window to get this ball in there. There's Greismullen right there. He's number 13, the middle receiver in that short side. He gets a little bump. There's that press coverage we talked about. Now, Buck Pierce threads the needle. He doesn't have a big window. It goes through the hands of Ryan Greismullen. Should have had that one.
Yeah, he had a drop last week deep in Saskatchewan territory early when it seemed like the Lions weren't cashing in their opportunities. And Paul McCallum puts it through. And a couple of McCallum field goals, and Wally Bono looks like he expected more. His team with a 6-0 lead.
You know, I know in the first game in the Eastern Final, the guys at the panel in our pregame show talked about rust on Calvillo and the possibility there. The same is, you know, is a concern, I'm sure, for Calgary Stampeders fans with Henry Burris. Anytime you have the bye and you haven't played in a couple of weeks, for offenses, it's about timing, it's about rhythm, and John Hufnagel knows that better than anybody, being a former quarterback and has been a quarterback coach. Tremendous resume from Hufnagel, trying to get this offense on rhythm.
So Henry Burris and the Stamps take over at the 35. Joffrey Reynolds, the CFL's leading rusher this year, the ball carrier for 3 tough yards. John Hufnagel and Henry Burris have been a dynamic combination this year. Their first working together.
When I first took the job and I met with Henry, I just told him, you know, his job is to be a leader on this football team, manage the game plan that's presented to him. It's my job to get the players around him to help him win football games.
And it's been a winning tandem and formula so far. 2nd and 7, the long out, and it is complete. Kenyon Rambo, LeVar Glover gambled a bit there, and Burris was able to sail it over the corner's head into the hands of the top receiver in the CFL.
And if you want to get your offense in rhythm, go to your go-to guy, and that's Kenyon Rambo for the Calgary Stampeders, who makes a great catch. This is the kind of throw and catch that can put an offense right in their zone, because it was a contested throw, because you're right, LeVar Glover took a gamble, came underneath, and Kenyon Rambo maintained concentration.
Rambo great in last year's Western Semi, 154 yards on 5 catches, and Joffrey Reynolds off the left side up to the 53-yard line, close to 5 for Joffrey Reynolds, who, like Henry Burris, has some playoff demons as well.
Yeah.
3 fumbles in the last 3 playoff starts for Joffrey, and he has averaged under 50 yards per game in his last 3 playoff starts.
But they have to get him going, and because the Calgary Stampeders against BC this year have been unbelievable running the football. Joffrey has 200-yard games against the Lion defense along the ground. George Cortez knows his importance and the balance that can help out Henry Burris a ton. But when you look at rushing against the BC Lions, the Calgary Stampeders are killing them at the line of scrimmage.
Reynolds to the sidelines, and Demetrius Summers checks in at running back, 2nd and 5. And Burris in trouble, and the Lions have got to the Calgary quarterback for the first time today. Aaron Hunt, first time All-Canadian at defensive tackle. Looks like he got there first.
Yeah, and it was just straight 4-man pressure. 1, 2, 3, 4 along the line, but that's probably the best 4 in Canadian football in a long, long time when it comes to straight defensive line play that can get after the quarterback. When you look at Brent Johnson, Cameron Wake, Aaron Hunt, maybe the most underrated. Although he was a CFL All-Star, people are now just noticing how strong and how good of a football player Aaron Hunt really is.
Yeah, 11 sacks for Hunt, 10 for Brent Johnson, and of course, the league-leading 23 from Cam Wake. So again, Dales has to kick it away. Ian Smart from inside his 20. And Smart taken down on a solid tackle after the 46-yard kick. 5 on the return. And the tackle made by Juwan Simpson. So 9 seconds remaining, first quarter. And the Lions with a 6-0 lead. And the Wind at their back for one more play. And it's Jarius Jackson coming in, which is the most interesting coaching decision of this first quarter.
It really is, and especially on first down. I mean, we saw in the semifinal that Jarius Jackson will play on 2nd and short, and he'll play on 3rd and short yardage.
Jackson, of course, came in and had one of the biggest plays last week, the 2nd and short touchdown of 31 yards. And a quarterback draw, Jarius Jackson across the 35.
And that's why. Put him in to run a quarterback draw, get a first down, and then Buck comes back in, I'm sure.
Final play, first quarter here in Calgary. Tim Hortons, always fresh, always.
Just over 40 yards for Stephen Logan, who's winning that rushing battle between he and Joffrey Reynolds. That was a very physical, up-tempo first quarter in this West Final.
Mentioned that Montreal, little sluggish first quarter with the bye. Did you sense that from Calgary?
I did on their offense. You can see their timing isn't quite there, although give some credit to the BC defense. I mean, once again, they started the game in the semifinal in Saskatchewan with 4 turnovers, and they've controlled the line of scrimmage so far.
You get varying opinions. Some people think it's very hard for one team to beat another 4 consecutive times. I know that's not how the Stamps feel. Rob Lazio told us yesterday, if you're better, you can beat them 18 straight times. Buck Pierce back at quarterback for BC and looking for Simon, and overthrows the intended target, who was well covered by J.R. Ruffin, the DB on the spot for Calgary today.
And Buck Pierce, again, has to be very careful not to lock in too much to G-Roy Simon, because there's ways that the Calgary Stampeders can help J.R. Ruffin. They can put Milton Collins or Wes Lysak over the top so that they don't leave him in that one-on-one with no one behind him. So it'll look like it's one-on-one to Buck Pierce, except for the fact that there's a deep defender helping out.
Ruffins was a regular in Calgary's backfield in 06. In fact, his first CFL interception was against Dave Dickinson. Then with the Lions, Pierce throws complete over the middle. And that's the usual tough sledding for Jason Claremont. First down up at the 49.
Mentioned off the top that Buck Pierce is the young buck in the Final Four coming into this weekend, and I think most of the experts across the country have picked the Calgary Stampeders in this game because of the matchup at quarterback. Buck Pierce stands in here and throws a strike to Jason Claremont, who is well covered, and Buck Pierce had lots of pressure in his face on that one.
12th consecutive start for Buck Pierce at quarterback, 13 to Claremont. And here is Stephon Logan, another burst into the backfield. He gets nailed by Milton Collins, but as happened a couple of weeks ago on a big Collins hit, he just pops right back up.
Well, so far, again, this game is being won and lost up front, and the BC Lions have the lead in the game because so far they are winning that battle, because you can see that open lane for Stephon Logan, and he hits it nicely. Big block up front by Angus Reid, the center, to take Juwan Armour out of there, the linebacker.
18 for Logan, 62 in the game. already. And Pierce underneath. There's Ryan Grace-Mullen, brought down at the 41-yard line, so a short gain there. You mentioned Calgary's running totals against BC, but in the last two Lions starts against the Stamps, they've amassed 312 yards rushing coming into this game. So they may have found a little soft spot in the Calgary defense.
Yeah, and that's 2-6. He's getting a lot of that, but he's getting some help up front right now because that was big block by Angus Reid, Rob Murphy, and the CFL All-Star Jason Jimenez.
If BC's found the soft spot, nobody else did because Calgary was #1 against the run, 2nd and 7, and there's a completion and a first down. G. Simon with the catch as Buck Pierce has the chains moving.
The other edge that the BC Lions have that no one was talking about leading into this game was playoff experience, and the guys like G. Simon can settle down a huddle. They know the importance of it. They know how big this football game is and what the intensity level will be at. Remember, there's so many youngsters in that Calgary defense. They're just learning this for the first time.
3 minutes into the second quarter, the Lions marching, and Logan will try the left side again, trying to get outside to turn the corner, runs out of real estate, and they'll crash into the signage on that far side. J.R. Ruffin there again.
Stefan Logan went to South Dakota, and through his bio, I was amazed to learn that in the 45 games he played in college, 34 of them he was over 100 yards rushing. The best kept secret coming out of college.
And one of the best tips Bobby Ackles, the late Bobby Ackles, ever got. A friend from Miami where Ackles had worked with the Dolphins said, you might want to take a look at this guy. Second down, and Buck Pierce too high for Claremont. Incomplete.
We had Claremont open, and he tried to throw him to the outside because of the presence of Milton Collins, who was working his way from the safety spot and working over. Buck Pierce in the last game of the regular season threw an interception as he was trying to get it to G. Simon on the very same spot on the field in a very similar play, and Collins was the guy who came over and intercepted it. That time he rushed the throw a little bit so that he wouldn't have it intercepted.
So Paul McCallum back on, trying to make it 3 straight field goals, and McCallum expands the lead. Lions by 9. Well, the Stampeders have won 8 of their last 9 games, 10 of 12. But here they are in a 9-point deficit. 4 minutes into the second quarter as McCallum kicks it deep. And here's Demetrius Summers on the return. It's a good one. Up across midfield, and he tightropes it into BC territory. There's an adrenaline boost that the Stamps needed. 51 on the return.
If you watch the Eastern Final, you know how important that third phase of the game can be, and that's the special teams phase. Big plays in that game before we got to this one here at McMahon Stadium, and this could be the play that ignites the Calgary Stampeders a little bit, lights a fire underneath them, and gets them going, because Demetrius Summers takes this up, and that's the key to this return, is he sells it to one side, the wide side of the field, to his right with the first 4 or 5 steps. Then he breaks back to the left, and that's why he's got that wall set up for him. It's a McCallum who knocks him out.
Got an injured BC line on the field, so we'll step out. Jason Araki, the fine special team man, is down. The sidelines, the leading special teams tackler in the CFL this year. Looks like he'll be okay. Best field position start for Calgary today. And a pump from Burris, and then pressure. He escapes. Gets outside, and now across the grain again. Incomplete for Joffrey Reynolds.
Tried to do a double move with Kenyon Rambo, who was going one-on-one on LeVar Glover, and LeVar Glover has been in his hip pocket the entire afternoon so far.
Henry just try and sell a little late hit by Aaron Hunt. He bumped into Hunt on the way back to the huddle, went down in a heap and came up smiling.
Calgary Stampeders ranked second running the football in the Canadian Football League in the regular season, third throwing it close to 400 yards a game, but so far that BC defense has responded.
Lions defense with 50 games of Western Final experience. 2nd and 10. And Burris to Nick Lewis, who can't bring it down.
Oh boy. You mentioned that game experience, and here's the difference. The Lions on defense, all those games of experience you just mentioned, Chris, 46 playoff games of experience for the entire starting lineup for the Calgary Stampeders. That's both offense and defense.
Surprised to see Nick Lewis. His playoff numbers not very impressive. 9 catches, 83 yards in his previous 3 playoff games. So it's not all Henry Burris. Joffrey Reynolds has struggled in the playoffs. Nick Lewis hasn't put up big numbers. And they've got to climb that hurdle. Good kick by Dales to get it inside the 20 and out of bounds as we approach 5 minutes of this second quarter with the Lions in the lead.
Welcome back to McMahon Stadium. Let's go straight to the sideline. Jacques Climie with Calgary.
Guys, before the game and talking to the BC Lions and Geroy Simon, they wanted to do a lot to get him open by moving him around. They're getting a lot of different formations, which right now the Calgary Stampeders defense is having a tough time with. On the sidelines here during that last break, Juwan Armour, the rest of the defense, we're talking with Chris Jones, trying to figure out who's got who's following Geroy Simon, and J.R. Ruffin basically is a guy, he's got to man up with him and follow him wherever he goes, Matt.
Jug, offensive line domination, defensive line domination for the BC Lions. They're out physically in the Calgary Stampeders. Defensively, what they've done, they've simply slid Aaron Hunt over the top of Lazio, getting it drawn a double team, freeing up Jesse Newman, and trying to attack the youngster in his gap.
Matt Wally-Bono's message was to be more physical, don't turn the ball over. And so far, it has been a key combination for the Lions. Stefan Logan stacked up that time. Miguel Robide, the former #1 draft choice of the Stampeders, plugging the hole.
1 sack against the Lions in their 3 games in the regular season for Robide, and got a little help there from Juwan Armour, who led all of his teammates in tackles against the Lions in 3 games. So the two get Buck Pierce backed up in the shadow of his goalpost in 2nd and long, which plays to the defensive side of the ball.
Robide challenged in training camp by John Hufnagel to step up and prove that he deserved a spot in his team. And he's had a solid season, 5 quarterback sacks. No gain for Logan, 2nd and 10. And here comes the safety blitz from Lysak. They get it away, complete to Claremont, but brought down by Brandon Smith. And that'll be well short of the first down.
Wes Lysak did come on the blitz. You're absolutely right, Chris, and it was well blocked and picked up by the BC Lions on offense. There's the safety there. He's sneaking up into the line as Buck Pierce calls the signals. Now he goes, and he's trying to go right through that gap. Look at Lyle Green. Steps right into him, so Buck Pierce has the time to throw it. But a quick close by Brandon Smith holds BC short of that first down yard mark.
Best defensive sequence in the first 2 and out for BC. Howell waits at his 50. Is this where Wally Bono exercises the option to give up a safety? It is indeed. And McCallum's going to try and take some time off the clock first as he does step out. And so Calgary is on the scoreboard now, down by a converted touchdown. So 9-2 the score. Henry Burris has said that being winless as a playoff starter in Calgary is history, and he doesn't want to really talk about it, but it was interesting that John Hufnagel addressed it with his quarterback this week.
Yes, he did. He has the experience of working with Peyton Manning, who was going through a very similar situation as Henry Burris is, in that he had not won that big game, and he actually had a PowerPoint presentation showing some of the old clippings where the media was hard on Peyton Manning, said he couldn't win the big one. He showed that to Henry Burris this week in a one-on-one conversation with the PowerPoint, and then he showed him the headlines after Peyton Manning threw 5 touchdown passes in the Super Bowl and they had won, and said, that's your time.
Yeah, there were some striking similarities. Manning 0 for 3 in big games trying to get to the Super Bowl. Here's Marcus Howell taking the return. Good decision to opt for the kick return because Marcus Howell brings it back 35 yards, and that's a lot better than scrimmaging at your own 35.
And how would you like to be Henry Burris, to be sitting in that meeting with John Hufnagel and understand his history and his resume, the quarterbacks that he has worked with, and it's been there, done that. And John Hufnagel can say that to him, and Henry Burris can have nothing but confidence. Yeah, there's probably a little rust, the timing a little off after the bye week, but they'll start to get that together, and Henry Burris has had such a great season.
You saw Brian Williams' piece on Mark Trestman, the NFL quarterbacks he's worked with. Of course, John Hufnagel has worked with both Peyton and Eli Manning. And here's Joffrey Reynolds, short gain as he's brought down. Corey Banks up there to help out on the tackle. But Henry Burris knows that the long list of great quarterbacks Hufnagel's been involved with, and he wants to rank near the top.
He has so much knowledge and had such a historic background as far as places he's coached, the people he's coached. And like I said before the season, I want to make sure when this season or my time as far as playing under John Hufnagel is done, he'll always say that I'm one of the best quarterbacks that he's ever coached. And I want to do whatever it takes to be mentioned as one of those guys.
Well, some early movement on that offensive line as Burris was sizing up 2nd and 7, but they'll have to march back 5.
Yeah, it's a couple of those quarterbacks that
Procedure. Calgary, number 52. It's a 5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
that Henry Burris talked about that John Hufnagel has worked with. Guys like Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, who we mentioned in the National Football League. Don't get two bigger names than that. Doug Flutie, Dave Dickinson, Henry Burris, Jeff Garcia from the Canadian Football League, and a couple of those guys case both leagues.
As Jesse Newman called, here's the screen. Reynolds caught from behind and brought down. Brent Johnson, big defensive play as Reynolds saw a lot of green ahead of him, but the former top defensive player in the country and twice top Canadian makes the play.
Little screen pass here from Henry Burris. He's just going to drop out of there. There's Burris right there in the shotgun. He's going to drop out of here, and a little stunt by Brent Johnson. Almost gets his hands on that one. Remember, he knocked one up that was intercepted by Tyrone Williams in the semifinal a week ago. That one, he almost got his mitts on there, and he's the guy who chases down the target from behind.
So that Calgary offense has yet to really get any traction. 3 2-and-outs in 5 possessions. And we are midway into the second quarter. And Dales will try and pin BC deep once again. Smart drops it at his 12. And then is forced out inside the 20, a 43-yard punt, and Ian Smart with 4 on the return.
BC Lions in the first quarter sustained a couple of drives because of Stephon Logan. Those last couple, they're backed up a little bit, and the Calgary Stampeders have made some adjustments defensively to try and get BC in a second and long, and that means you have to stop Stephon Logan on first down.
Lions will start at the British Columbia 18-yard line. Bunch formation to the short side of the field. And Logan again finds room up the middle. And Stephon Logan up around the 26-yard line has 8.
Salim Rashid and Juwan Armour, the linebackers, to show you on first down how close to the line of scrimmage they really are. And this is why Stephon Logan, look at this. Usually the linebackers are lined up 4 or 5 yards back from there. They're usually about 5 yards off the line of scrimmage. You can see they're only 2 because they want to eliminate the gaps and try and stop or control Logan.
And Logan already 79 yards on the ground, 2nd and 2. And Logan looking for a first down is dropped at the 29-yard line. Big hit there by Robitaille, but it is a BC first down.
Well, and this is what happens, though. There's a downside to this. They've got their linebackers up, and again, that play, Salim Rashid and Juwan Armour up on the line of scrimmage, and it's going to be Charleston Hughes that makes it. Look at them again. Look, right up in the line of scrimmage. That means they're sucked up to stop the run. They still gave up the first down. There's Hughes with the tackle. The downside of it is play action opens up that zone in behind the linebackers to throw the football.
And Logan's previous 2 starts against Calgary, 95 and 138 yards. Play action fake, and now Ryan Grice-Mullen up near midfield. Pulled down by Dwight Anderson at the BC 54-yard line.
Juwan Armour again, here we go, and this is exactly what we just talked about. Armour, see how close he is to the line of scrimmage? What does that open up? That opens up that intermediate zone in behind. Where is Ryan Grice-Mullen going to end up? Little play action, keep Armour on the line of scrimmage, layered patterns across the middle. There he is, right over the middle, in behind the linebackers.
25-yard pickup, enhancing Lion field position, but Pierce 8 of 15, 98 yards so far in the Western Final. Back to Logan, little stutter step, and oh boy, great yards for Logan when it looked like nothing was available.
And this has got to be frustrating Calgary because they are playing to stop Stephon Logan, and they're missing a couple of tackles in the hole. Let's see this same play, and I'm going to show you Juwan Armour one more time. There he is, right up in the line of scrimmage. That defense, folks, is designed to stop the run. He makes the right move, he gets to the gap, and Logan makes a miss anyway.
So Armour up there again. 8 more for Logan. And why not hand it off again? And Logan to the 45, and he'll be hauled back. And again, the ball loose after the whistle.
I'm not sure what that forward progress, where he'll get to it. Well, they're going to give him the first down. That he did get to that 45 of the Calgary Stampeders, which is where they needed to be.
So Logan will step out for a play, and Ian Smart checks in. And you could guess that whatever team ran better today was going to end up on top, and so far it has been an accurate barometer.
Chris, the Calgary Stampeders, they just noticed the 3-minute warning coming up, and they were having some problems getting the right personnel on defense.
And so a timeout called?
Yeah, because there's 13 seconds left, so they couldn't get to that 3-minute warning, or they would have taken the delay of game. They're taking a look at something here.
Well, they're going to... Well, we did not see the challenge flag come out, but yes, it is just in front of the Calgary bench, and they want to know if they recovered a Logan fumble on that last play. John Huffnagel does have the challenge flag on the field, and he's telling Bud Steen what he wants to have a look at.
Yeah, and they moved the sticks, but they haven't run another play, so the challenge flag came out in time. Logan gets twisted back there.
Now, is that one of those where he's down on top of the tackler, Eddie Freeman?
Yeah, like Eddie Freeman, he was down on the ground, and he had pulled Logan down on top of him.
Now, we are told that the officials will no longer tell a coach that we're not going to change our mind, pick up the flag. So let's see what...
Calgary is challenging the ruling on the field that forward progress was stopped. We'll review the play.
So after a long discussion with John Huffnagel,
forward progress had stopped.
And that's... I think the officials are saying no fumble because forward progress had stopped there and the whistle had blown. There's the ball coming loose, and clearly Juwan Armour ended up with the ball.
Yeah, and just completely off topic, it's amazing that Stephon Logan's right knee is okay.
Yeah.
Now, he got twisted and bent underneath Eddie Freeman. Now, they have ruled this year that if the ball carrier's forward progress has stopped, and he is pulled down on top of a tackler who's on the ground, he is ruled down by contact there. And you could see that Freeman was on his back on the ground and Logan on top of him.
There enough evidence to change Bud Steen's mind on that replay. It could be a
Well, it has to
big
be
play in the game because right now BC's got a first down at the Calgary 45.
Well, no question, huge play, and it has to be conclusive to overturn, because the sticks were already moved to indicate a first down for the BC Lions.
We have not had a turnover in this first half of play. And Stefan Logan, 12 carries, 93 yards already in this first half.
Upon review, the player's forward progress was stopped. It is BC's ball.
I think the correct call is made there without question, and first down for the BC Lions. More look at it, like his forward progress, not there, but right there as he twists backwards and now is on top of the tackler who's down before the ball came out.
Seen Wally Bono a lot on the sidelines. I've never seen him as intense as we've seen him so far today. Pressure, and that pass incomplete, and the flag in the backfield. It's going to be holding against the Lions. Some heavy pressure on Buck Pierce that time.
Well, Shannon James was in the backfield. He was part of it. Looked like he came off the edge.
Holding BC number 64. It's a 10-yard penalty. Will repeat first down.
So they will march them back to midfield. And it will be 1st and 20. And now they have given the benches the 3-minute warning, a 7-point BC lead. And Matt manning the sidelines here at McMahon Stadium. 1st and 20, back at midfield after the holding call. Pierce stands in and throws, and it's complete. Simon breaks the tackle, and then he gets wrestled down by Juwan Armour. High tackle, and I think Giroy thought he might have been face masked on the play.
And Jock Calamy talked about how the BC Lions have come with some different formations. You've noticed Giroy Simon, this is his inside position. He plays inside in the slot back spot. What's different about the formation, though, is that Jason Claremont, who is also a slot back, lined up at wide receiver on the same side. So a different look for the Calgary Stampeders. And Giroy, you're right, wanted that face mask call.
This drive started at the Lion 18. Back to the Calgary 46, where it's 2nd and 11. And Pierce with another dart to Ryan Grice-Mullen. And the Lion drive will continue.
Now, again, Ryan Grice-Mullen is wide receiver, and he plays wide receiver on the short side. He's going to catch this slant route from Buck Pierce coming right over the middle from this direction. Here he comes there. Now, there's the thing. On the wide side of the field, again, a very different formation. Giroy Simon as a wide receiver, Claremont inside at the slot back spot. So, again, different formation for Calgary to handle.
Boy, that's a big 2nd down conversion for Pierce. 1st down, Stefan Logan. And he's grabbed and dragged down. That's a 3-yard gain. And Mike Labinjo on the tackle.
It's a key 2nd down and a key drive for both teams here, because like last week, when you talk about the Calgary Stampeders, they need to stop here. They haven't got their offense going, and they can't afford to slip in and give up a major here. Wally Bono from last week in the semifinal had those 4 turnovers in the first quarter, didn't capitalize on them. It didn't hurt him there, but this is the Calgary Stampeders offense.
3 for Logan. He has 95 and a half, 2nd and 7. Pierce stands in, throwing, and over the head of Claremont to Shannon James. The top defensive player on the Stampeders this year was stride for stride.
Well, you got Giroy Simon and working with Jason Claremont. There's Claremont right there. Simon is going to waggle down here, and then he's going to try and make the pick, and Claremont does the wheel around him. So watch how this develops. When you get press coverage, that's defensive backs and linebackers in bump and run. If you can run those rubs, those pick plays, you might get a guy open. That time, James fought his way around it.
So Paul McCallum trying his 4th of the first half. This from 32 yards out. And McCallum puts that through. And it is again a 10-point lead.
Big stop, though, for that Calgary defense. Really was.
Again. And in this Western Final, number 82, Nick Lewis wears the mic for TSN.
Here we go. I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah, you gotta be there.
I'm
You
here.
gotta be there. I didn't want to catch that.
One guy who loves to talk against a defense that loves to chirp as well.
Well, and Henry Burris has got to go back to Nick Lewis as soon as he can and try and give him another one of those throws down the seam, or at least get the football in his hands, because you know that drop is still weighing on his mind. And it won't get out of his mind until he makes that next catch.
BC took 5:07 off the clock on that field goal drive. And now 88 seconds remaining in the first half, and Henry Burris and the offense will try and change the complexion of this opening half in the 2008 Western Final. Summers on the return again, dangerous again, across midfield again, and cut down by Paul McCallum, but Summers to the Lion 39.
Well, he is setting up these returns really nice. Demetrius Summers is doing this. Up, a couple steps that way, and then back the opposite direction. And it's those three or four steps in one direction that really influence the cover team for the BC Lions in that direction. And he cuts back against the flow. He's done it a couple of times, and now it's one guy. He just makes him miss, and away he goes. A couple of big returns. The Lions are going to talk at halftime about their special teams. The Calgary Stampeders are going to talk about their offense and how they can get that going.
It's a late flag after they unpiled. Not sure if it was a taunting call, but Steen will sort it out.
Objectionable conduct. Calgary number 67. It's a 10-yard penalty from the end of the run, and it's first down.
Dimitri Sumpas, the right guard, called. So that takes a little of the luster off a 51-yard kick return by Demetrius Summers. And that, by the way, 2 straight 51-yard returns.
And often, Chris, offensive linemen like Sumpas aren't on the kick return team, so that may have came from the bench as he was coming on offensively for this series.
Timer, please put the clock back to 1-2-0. 1-2-0.
But Steen wants a second extra on the clock, and John Huffnagel and Henry Burris will try and use every second available here to cut into this BC 10-point lead.
Well, they've had good field position to start their last couple of series and not been able to take advantage of it. I'd still like to see a little more Joffrey Reynolds. I think Calgary fans to see him get started.
Starting almost in field goal range for Sandro DeAngelis. And there is Reynolds. And he'll be brought down by the big defensive tackle Tyrone Williams, who called his performance 2 weeks ago maybe the worst of his career.
And so far he's made amends because that front four is doing their job. But Cortez has got to start and try and get Joffrey Reynolds more involved, because the balance in the offense is what he's talked about all week. And they felt that Joffrey Reynolds might see the ball 20 times. And you've seen that near for that pace. 5 touches for Reynolds in the first half.
2nd and 3. Here's Reynolds, first down and more. Crashing down to the Lion 32.
It'll keep the defensive line off balance, Chris, because it's pretty simple. Defensive linemen, they want to pin their ears back and get after the quarterback. If you're throwing all the time, they get into that rhythm. They can even try and anticipate the snap count. They get out of their stances in a hurry. If you start to run the ball, if you start to dump it to the backs, they have to read and take a look at Joffrey first.
I think Joffrey Reynolds might have been nicked. He took himself out. It was late before Demetrius Summers came into the game. In fact, he wasn't there for the huddle, but does take the handoff and breaks a tackle. And another Demetrius Summers to the 24. And I got to tell you, I'm a little surprised that he was the ball carrier there, because he arrived late on the scene.
Yeah, and it must have been just Henry Burris giving him the quick heads up as to what the play was, because it looked like the handoff and the play was executed smoothly, and then a couple of missed tackles by the Lions or broken tackles by Summers.
Otis Floyd couldn't bring him down. Barrett Miles does. And it's a 9-yard carry for Summers, who has 102 on a pair of kick returns in this first half. And Henry Burris wants to go into the end zone. Touchdown! Kenyon Rambo! With 9 seconds left on the clock. It took almost an entire half, but finally the Stamps offense reports for duty.
This game is all about momentum. The Lions had it. Calgary Stampeders just grabbed some of it in one throw. And it was a contested catch in the back of the end zone. And what a catch by Rambo.
All Canadian against all Canadian. Rambo over Dante Marsh. 4 plays. A minute 19. DeAngelis the extra point. It's a 3-point Lion lead, but a much different game now than it was a very short time ago.
8 touchdowns receiving in the regular season for Kenyon Rambo, working one-on-one on Dante Marsh, who's going to open the gate a little bit. And what that means is, as
foul, unnecessary roughness, BC number 27.
That's a LeVar Glover penalty.
As Rambo ran by Dante Marsh, he opens the gate. He doesn't get physical with him. He won't get his hands on him. And he allows him that straight go to the back of the end zone, then tries to catch up. He does catch up, but not in time. Good concentration by Kenyon Rambo to keep his feet in bounds as he made that touchdown grab.
The real Ocho Cinco, at least here in Calgary, at 8 touchdown catches during the regular season, 100 grabs to lead the league with 1,473 yards. And that for Henry Burris for the season now, his 40th touchdown pass.
And he has been a Lion tamer. Kenyon Rambo over 300 receiving yards in 3 games in the regular season against BC.
And for Calgary, the first 8 Henry Burris passes went for 27 yards, but that was a 22-yard strike. And kicking off from the 50, DeAngelis puts it in the end zone, and Ian Smart will bring it out. And is tossed down at the 16-yard line with 4 seconds left for Buck Pierce to kill in this first half. Let's find out what Glover did to get the 15 yards.
Well, it may not affect the scoreboard here. He's right at the top of the line here. And he comes off the edge on the extra point. Cornish right there, and he takes a shot to the head of Cornish. You know, a lot of pushing and shoving, a lot of stuff after the fact, a lot of trash talking in this game. Both these teams know what is at stake, and they've got to rein that stuff in, because a bad penalty in the second half in a one-possession game can cost you the football game.
Well, it was a half dominated by the Lions, but Buck Pierce, as he takes the knee to run the clock out, will only take a 3-point lead to the locker room through 30 minutes of the West Final.
West Division Final at McMahon Stadium as the sun is setting, and it's going to set on one of these two teams' seasons to see who faces Montreal in the Grey Cup next week. Hi, everybody. Dave Randorf, Jock Climbey, Matt Duggan, and Chris Schultz. So just like last week, the BC Lions really kind of dominate the first half as they did against Saskatchewan, but they can't put the ball into the end zone, and as a result, we got a 3-point game. Jock, quickly, I want to ask you, the hallmark for Calgary during their excellent season was consistency. They've been anything but that today. Are you surprised?
Yeah, I'm amazed on both sides of the ball. 243 yards offensively for BC, only 89 for Calgary. I'll tell you, the sideline, there's lots of intensity over there. There's lots of what to. At the moment, they're just lacking a little bit of how to. I think we'll see a different Calgary team in the second half.
That is the first touchdown surrendered by the BC Lions so far in the playoffs. Stephen Logan was your key man coming into the game. Had 153 against the Riders in the semifinal. He's well on his way again thanks to the big boys up front.
Exactly. We knew that the BC Lions wanted to come out and be more physical, and that's where it started. Dan DeRazio's group offensive line coach for the BC Lions. He's got his boys humming, and they've done it with Stefan Logan. This guy is special. He runs so low to the ground. If he gets one small crease, bang, he's into the secondary, chewing up yards. He's already got 95 yards on 13 carries against the best run defense in the Canadian Football League. He is so quick. I haven't seen him back this quick in my 25 years here of being in the Canadian Football League. I can tell you that the formations that they're using to take a linebacker out of the box by taking Lyle Green from the backfield and then putting him at a wide receiver, much like moving Geroy Simon around, much like moving Jason Claremont around, eliminates a man from the box, and when he hits that crease, bang, it is over. Schultze, I can tell you that, and Jack, I can tell you that this guy is special, and the intensity on the sidelines there is off the charts on the BC sidelines.
Yeah, and they came in with a great game plan. You just talked about it, the formationing, and I talked about it in the first half as well. That's what they wanted to do. They wanted to confuse the Calgary defense, but they also wanted to try to get Geroy Simon locked on rough and one-on-one. Geroy was concerned he was going to get a whole lot of double and triple teams. He hasn't gotten it, and so far, I think Ruffin's been holding his own. I mean, yeah, you see the intensity of Geroy in this game, but Ruffin, hey, he got one caught on them early on the scene. Hey, Geroy's going to do this to a lot of guys, but, you know, later in the ball game, Geroy coming underneath there, that was in zone coverage. But later in the ball game, he ran a corner, and J.R. Ruffin was right with him. But there again, a little inside-out move by Geroy. So far, I'd say Ruffin is doing a good job. He has nothing to be ashamed about. We'll see if they continue to get the matchups they're looking for in the second half, Chris.
Guys, I see two things happening here. You're so correct. The BC Lions are dominating this game on the line of scrimmage and in some individual matchups. But also the Calgary Stampeders are doing some downright stupid things as a football team as it relates to the playoffs. First and foremost, Brandon Browner, how many punts have you covered? You know the rule in this game. You have to give the receiver a certain amount of yardage before you go for the tackle. Enhances a play. Juwan Armour, you can play middle linebacker here forever. You know you cannot dive at a quarterback's legs. It's interpreted as unnecessary roughness. And then a couple of missed opportunities. Nick Lewis right there. Oh my gosh, if you just had that play. Then finally unnecessary roughness later on to enhance the play. It came down to one play for the Calgary Stampeders and also three good kickoff returns. Other than that, they've done nothing, Dave.
Yeah, you know what? You throw in an objectionable conduct penalty later on in the first half as well. You know, we should point out that an hour and a half before this game started, they were yapping at each other. Do you think the Stamps were thrown off way back then?
Not necessarily, because it takes two teams to yap. I think it hurts the concentration. I credit BC for coming out and playing confidently.
The Montreal Alouettes are through. They will play in the Grey Cup this coming Sunday. Who will face them? The BC Lions or the Calgary Stampeders? It's a close one at McMahon. Brought to you by Tim Hortons Always Fresh. Chris Schultz.
My, oh my, look at this. 14 first downs to 4. BC over Calgary. 243 total yards to 89. My, oh my. BC is on a roll.
Wally Buono is 3-0 on the road as a head coach in West Finals. He just spoke with Farhan Lalji.
Wally, you've still got the lead, but not the momentum. How difficult was that last touchdown?
Well, again, we know it's going to be an up-and-down game, so we're not going to let that bother us. It's a 60-minute game. They're going to have the momentum some of the time. We got to get it back.
Kind of a similar situation to last week in the first half in Saskatchewan. You guys have controlled the ball offensively, but haven't been able to finish a drive.
Well, again, we're ahead right now. Our defense is playing well. Our offense is moving the football. We just got to do a better job of covering kicks.
Thanks, Wally.
Okay,
I wish I was in that locker room.
All right, we told you that Montreal is through. Let's show you highlights of the East Final as we take you back to the Sports Center update control. Here is Corey Warren.
So today, we're going to show them. Talk is cheap, baby. Welcome to expensive. Pay up.
I'm so scared of these guys. Scary.
You're watching TSN, proud home of the CFL playoffs and the Grey Cup. And this Western final, 12-9 as we head to the third quarter. But first, Farhan Lalji with John Huffnagel.
Coach, after not being able to move the ball for most of that first half, how big was that last drive for Henry and the offense?
Well, it was big, no question about it, for both sides of the football. It was very important for us to get some points on the board before we went into halftime. Now we got to keep on going in the second.
Yeah, how good do you feel right now? As much as the yardage has gone in BC's favor, you guys are right in this.
Well, our defense, we got to stop them sooner, but they did a great job of keeping out of the end zone. They had to settle for field goals to give us this opportunity in the second half.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
So your thoughts?
Well, the offense for the Calgary Stampeders have had to deal with that defensive line for the BC Lions, who have played a lot better in this game than they did in the regular season. And these two teams are right now 30 minutes of football away from a trip to the show. And it's not just about the regular season for these players. It's about their entire careers, all the time in the gym, all the time lifting weights, all the time they thought about getting to a championship game. 30 minutes away from accomplishing that.
Calgary kick returns to the dangerous third quarter underway, and Dimitri Summers again up to the 40-yard line before he's taken down. Tad Crawford, the reserve safety, with the special team tackle as we compare the quarterback numbers through 30 minutes.
Well, a lot will talk about what Henry Burris did not do in the first half. I want to talk about what he avoided, which is the interceptions, and that was the demon that he had to exercise in his playoff experience in the past. And Buck Pierce did the same thing. Didn't make any major mistakes, and he did move the football 10 of 18. He got Stephon Logan involved in a big way in the first half.
Those numbers, hard to believe for Henry Burris, coming off a personal best season of over 5,000 yards rushing. There's Joffrey Reynolds, brought down quickly by former Stampeder, Grey Cup winner in 01 with Calgary, Otis Floyd.
And so far, that front seven, and in particular the front four for the BC Lions, have controlled Joffrey Reynolds for the most part. He had a couple of plays late in that first half. Aaron Hunt, you heard Matt Dunnigan talk about they moved Aaron Hunt in, so he's over Rob Lazio to center a little more. Cameron Wake's making some tackles. He's been held up pretty well in pass rush.
2nd and 8. Here comes that rush, and that one almost intercepted. Dante Marsh had his hands on it, intended for Kenyon Rambo.
And the key for the BC Lions coming in was to cancel all the gaps in the line of scrimmage. Let's take a look at that defensive front seven. Let's say Cameron Wake has the outside gap. That's called C. There's B gap, Aaron Hunt. Tyrone Williams, let's say he has the other one on the opposite side, Brent Johnson. That's another gap canceled. You take one linebacker in that final two and Javi Glatt in the middle one. Now you've canceled the gaps, and you allow one linebacker to scrape to the football like in Jamal Johnson. Mike Benavides said that was the priority. Try and get the Calgary Stampeders in 2nd and long.
Great duel of defensive coordinators, Mike Benavides and Chris Jones. And here's Ian Smart with the return. Kicking it outside. Burt Dale's trying to track him. And Dales comes up with the tackle, but Ian Smart inside the Calgary 40-yard line. 55 on the return.
Take a look at this punt cover team, and I'll show you the breakdown. It's going to be J.R. Ruffin. He's going to come down the field. Now, it's all about lanes and making sure everyone is in the lanes. Ruffin is right in the middle. He is going to trip, and that'll be the lane that is vacated. There's the trip there. He goes down. Now that middle lane, he's out of that middle lane. He was supposed to be right here. He's not there, and that's where Smart hits it. One guy goes down on the special teams. It was J.R. Ruffin, and that opens up a running lane.
Ian Smart led the league in kick returns, number 2 in punt returns. Rips off 55, and it's a first down at the 38-yard line, and Buck Pierce goes to work. Back to Logan out of the backfield, and Stephon Logan with a first down, or close to it. And I know the Lions felt that Calgary didn't have an answer for 26 in the first half.
No, they didn't. And this is a different way to use him for the BC Lions, is to get him out of in the flat and throw him the football. He was effective running it. This time, Buck Pierce takes a look at him. He goes looking the opposite direction, fakes the run, and then throws it out into the flat to him.
He caught 8 for 88 2 weeks ago here at McMahon. First down, and Logan with another carry, and he can take the punishment as he brings it down to the Calgary 20-yard line.
A lot of his 95 yards in the first half along the ground were those cutbacks, and he is so good at it. He hits the outside, then he'll cut back into the middle right there. Couple steps to the wide side, and then cut back up against the flow. And it's not only his tremendous quickness, his ability to change direction, but for Stefan Logan, it's his courage. He'll hit it in there.
He's now over 100 yards, 3 times 100 yards in the regular season, now twice in the postseason. Has it again.
Oh, baby.
Escape that.
Oh, baby, look at that one.
Oh, he may have been shaken up on this one. He has been so durable, but got into a vulnerable position that time after another brilliant run.
I don't know how he got through that line of scrimmage, because he got hit hard at the hole, spun out of that one to get it down on the doorstep, and both players down.
Brandon Smith also down on the play. And so while both players are getting attention, we'll step out. Brandon Smith a little woozy after taking that hit. Looks like he took a knee on the helmet from Stefan Logan, who's also on his feet, and I think okay.
There's Brandon Smith right there, and he did. He took the hit right to the side of his head from Stefan Logan's knee, the left knee right there. And Logan went down hard. He got up first and was okay. Went back to the bench, and they were very careful with Brandon Smith because it was the head and neck area.
First and goal from the 7, and Jarius Jackson comes in. He'll handle running back duties, and crashing down fumbles, and Calgary comes up with it. Jackson popped, and he coughs it up. And the first turnover of the game is huge.
And this is really the only downside of a substitution like this. There's so many good reasons for it. One, it's a change-up. It gets a running athletic quarterback in the game. It saves a hit on your starting quarterback to get Jarius Jackson in. It keeps him fresh. It keeps him going, but he is cold coming off the bench. He gets hit by Lubinjo. He tries to cut back against the flow, and the ball pops out right into the hands of the Calgary Stampeders, who once again bend but don't break.
Mike Lubinjo with the forced fumble. I think it was Charleston Hughes who comes up with the football. Off armor. And it indeed is Charleston Hughes. So a huge turning point. And Henry Burris tore. And over the middle, he's got Jermaine Copeland. And Burris said yesterday, momentum is what you make of it. They weren't able to sustain it through halftime after the late touchdown. Now a penalty flag on the play after the completion to Jermaine Copeland.
Illegal contact on a receiver. BC number 24. The gain was greater, therefore the penalty is declined. First down.
Corey Banks call. A non-factor as they take the catch by Copeland, who was held to just 4 grabs against the Lions in 3 regular season meetings. So first and 10, and a little more room to operate for the Calgary offense. 4-man rush time over the middle. McClure got it. Hit by Baron Miles, but this time Geronimo holds on and has 18.
Cameron Wake, though, I think is going to draw a holding call, and this play may be coming back, Chris, as he came off the edge, and it looked like he was going on Ben Archibald right here, number 91.
Calgary, number 65. Penalty will be applied half the distance to the goal. Repeat, first down.
There it is on the left tackle. So we haven't called Wake's name a lot, but there's his impact once again.
Well, I think over the last 3 weeks of the regular season and the first playoff game, he probably has drawn 5-6 holding calls, and there's likely been, according to Wally Buono, probably another 5-6 that haven't been called that could have. That's a big one.
So the 18-yard gain negated. Now it's first and 18. Back at the 8-yard line. And Burris throws down, and it's intercepted. Corey Banks has it. And Banks inside the 10, touchdown! No, they'll mark him out at the 1. Corey Banks out at the 1-yard line as the teams trade turnovers deep in Calgary territory.
And this ball just a little too far out in front of the intended target from Henry Burris. He's going to get some help on weight from Nick Lewis. He tries to look back to the backside. The ball just thrown a little bit too far in front of Jermaine Copeland. And Corey Banks, who has had one of those seasons where he's given up some plays early on and he had some challenges throughout the regular season. He has bounced back and played his best football down the stretch and in the playoffs.
6 interceptions regular season, 1 against Calgary. His biggest of the year has set things up. First and goal at the 1. Jarius Jackson back in short yardage. Ian Smart the ball carrier, and he is stopped. They'll toss him back.
Playoff intensity at its best. If you're going to get that inch, you're going to have to work for it. That's what the Calgary Stampeders are saying. After sudden change in the interception thrown by Henry Burris to Corey Banks, Labinjo just shoots the gap and catches Ian Smart from behind.
He won a Canadian Player of the Week award against BC earlier. Giant team in, second and goal. Oh, and back at the 5, and Mike Labinjo there. Oh, he was featured in our pregame show. Mike Labinjo showing you why he's the Stamps' top Canadian this year.
Well, there he is. He plays in the exact same spot twice in a row on the goal line. Both times he shoots the gap. Both times not blocked. This time he's easy pass straight to the running back, Ian Smart. The first time he had to go down the line of scrimmage, catches him from behind. 2 huge plays from Mike Labinjo.
And it brings back memories of BC in Montreal earlier. They're trying to get back to Montreal. And just before Labor Day, they were stuffed on 3 tries from the 1. Stuffed here. They have to settle for the 5th field goal of the game by Paul McCallum, and it's a 6-point line lead. What a series by Mike Labinjo. Let's check in at the BC sidelines. Here's Matt Dunnigan.
CC, can you feel the playoff intensity down here? I'm telling you, it is rocking down here. Stefan Logan took a helmet to the thigh. He had to sit out 3 plays. That's where you saw Ian Smart in the ball game there. And to take the ball off the line of scrimmage, well, that's a questionable call there. And it certainly cost the BC Lions in a critical situation. Once again, not being able to punch the ball in the end zone, having to settle for 3.
Well, Matt, you talking about running backs. People must be wondering why Joffrey Reynolds only has 5 carries in the ball game. Couple reasons. One, BC likes to do a whole lot of stunting up front. That means there's twists. They're running crisscrosses. Hard to block a guy when he's moving out of the way. The other reason is they haven't had the ball. They want to run the ball when they have a rhythm. Calgary has not been able to establish any rhythm and sustain any drives. Therefore, there hasn't been much running. Guys?
Thank you, gentlemen. We'll keep checking in on the sidelines. Demetrius Summers, another fine return up to the 40-yard line. And you heard Jock talk about Joffrey Reynolds as he and the offense checks back in for duty.
Yeah, and this is for Joffrey Reynolds. Got to remind him of last year in the playoffs where he had just 5 carries and less yardage. But the Calgary defense has given Joffrey Reynolds, George Cortez, the opportunity to keep him in the football game, because this could easily be over by now.
As that defense just got Henry Burris and the offense off the hook. And they're within a converted touchdown of taking the lead. They throw in Corey Banks' direction again. Incomplete, intended for Nick Lewis.
And it's hard to figure with the score as close as it is that Joffrey Reynolds is not more involved. When you look at the regular season, he had 39 carries, just about a 6-yard average, and just shy of 300 yards running the football against the BC defense. We talked about it keeping that D-line off of balance, but George Cortez has gone away from it, especially on first down. And again, on that last one, we saw a pass on first down.
So 2nd and 10 from the Calgary 40-yard line. Burris with time, over the middle, and that's a catch for Nick Lewis when it looked like the Lions almost had another interception.
You know, but things that have come back to haunt the Lions during the regular season are starting to creep into this one. They're not finishing drives offensively, and at times the secondary has gambled. At times the secondary has gambled against receivers and tried to make the big play, and this time Jerome Dennis does it, and they've missed. And when they've gambled and missed, it's been big plays for the offense.
Not a big one for the Stampeders. Nick Lewis, 22 yards. Now Joffrey Reynolds at carry left side. And a good run by Reynolds down to the 43-yard line. Has 6.
And this is what it does now for Henry Burris, is it gets him in a second and medium, second and short. Now his playbook is wide open. He can go to short passing game. He can run hitch screens, and he can go back to the run. So now George Cortez can pick any play he wants from the playbook, and that's what success on first down will do for you.
Real potential turning point here. Looked like the interception might cost 7, only 3. And if Calgary can answer with a scoring march of their own, you know where momentum lies in this one. But Reynolds will be close to the first down, but we'll see. We'll bring out the chains and find out how close.
So much talk about John Huffnagel's offense, about Henry Burris, about Kenyon Ramble, the leading receiver, Joffrey Reynolds, the leading rusher in Canadian football. For the Calgary Stampeders, if they can come back and win this game, boy, they need to go over there and thank the defense in a big, big way for keeping them in it. It's like in hockey, Chris, that goaltender that hangs around when you're just getting bombarded, but your goaltender keeps it a one-goal game, and then you find a way. And you find a way to get that one, you chip one in, and all of a sudden you've got all the momentum and you win it down the stretch. That's what the Calgary Stampeders are looking at. That's their opportunity now, and it's all because of their defense so far.
You saw the measurement. A chain link or too short.
Sorry. Okay, you go.
And so it will be third down at the BC 39-yard line. Big boys hunker down, and Burris will follow Western All-Star center Rob Lazio. And although the Lions are signaling that they stopped him, that should be enough to move the chains.
I don't even think he needed an inch there. I think he needed a half an inch.
And Henry Burris still smiling despite the adversity of the afternoon. And they do bring the chains back out. So it wasn't automatic. Although, once they put the chain down, it looked automatic. Yeah. They got it by a yard. John Huffnagel's defense has only surrendered the 5 field goals. And his team, a converted touchdown away from the lead. Brett Ralph was in motion. And Burris back to pass, does some dancing, and he'll have to step out. Forced out of bounds on good pursuit by the big defensive tackle, Tyrone Williams.
Oh, I tell you what, Tyrone Williams, that last game of the regular season against Calgary, he actually went in and talked to his teammates, and basically Williams said it was the worst game that I have ever played. He said, and not just this year, as a professional football player. He went in there against that double team here. He's going to chase down Henry Burris here, and I guarantee you he has had a way better game in this one than he did in the last game of the regular season, and a tremendous semifinal a week ago.
2nd and 7. Calgary's had the ball for about 3 minutes here. Their longest drive of the game time-wise. And that pass for Rambo. Airtight coverage from Dante Marsh. Incomplete.
You know, that's been quite a battle. You know, Dante Marsh, the All-Canadian, against Kenyon Rambo, who is, as we mentioned earlier in that first half, has had a pretty good success against the Lions. Kenyon Rambo got that one touchdown just before the end of the half at the back of the end zone. But this matchup, Dante Marsh has been right in his hip pocket. They tried to double move again where he's going to go down the sideline and a little pump fake, but Marsh isn't looking at the football. He's locked into his man and is right there. So sorry, Chris, not a double move, but a double pump from Henry Burris, the quarterback.
So here is Sandro DeAngelis, leading scorer in the CFL this year, from 42 yards out, and Sandro puts it through. And once again, a field goal separates these teams in the West Final. Late afternoon in the foothills, and it has been a heavyweight clash. 5:31 left, third quarter, 15-12 BC. And the smallest guy on the field, the 180-pound Stefan Logan, has been the biggest story so far. And Logan back in for duty after having that thigh wrapped. BC starting at their 35 after the DeAngelis field goal. 5-receiver set. And Pierce runs out of time. And Calgary's defense is stepping up, led by Mike Labinjo.
Chris, we could talk about those offensive stars like Stefan Logan, G-Roy Simon, Kenyon Rambo, Joffrey Reynolds. But the player of the game so far may just be Mike Labinjo, number 42, right there. Down on the goal line, 2 huge plays for Calgary. He comes off the edge here. Those are all-star tackles out there for the BC Lions. He bull rushes and gets that sack.
And both ends had a meeting with the quarterback. Charleston Hughes there as well. And it's a loss of 8, second and 18, 3-man rush. And underneath the pass, incomplete. Looked like it was intended for O'Neal Wilson.
Look what he does back on the goal line. I want to show you that play one more time because Mike Labinjo on the goal line stand is the big play of the game so far. The offense for the Lions are slide protect like this. They want to do this, but one guy does it. Tyrone Williams right there. He steps out on Charleston Hughes, and that's why the gap is opened up for Labinjo. And hey, he says, you're going to open a gap like that, I'll take it. He's in the backfield. That's the play of the game so far, and he made another one in this series.
Kid out of St. Mike's putting on a show. And if he had his way, he'd be playing a little offense too. An old high school running back who has lobbied unsuccessfully to carry the football. Did catch a pass for a touchdown this year. Paul McAllister took it away, and not a good kick. And a little backspin at midfield. Look at the field position for Calgary. And a no yards call as well, so the Stampeders, after that short kick, almost in position to tie this game, almost in Sandro DeAngelis field goal position. 21-yard punt.
No yards. BC, number 70, it's a 5-yard penalty, and it's first down Calgary.
It's been a heroic effort so far tonight by Mike Labinjo, but our true heroes are men and women in the Canadian Forces. We like to always honor them and say hi during our football telecasts and meet Private Paul Bennett, 2nd Battalion, Royal Canadian Regiment from CFB, Gagetown, New Brunswick, in South Afghanistan during Operation Athena. And once again, thank you to our men and women of the Canadian Forces.
There's a pass for Nick Lewis, a quick hitter. Lewis down to the 41-yard line, so that's 6 for number 82, who set records this year, consecutive games receiving the football in Calgary, and 5 times a 1,000-yard receiver, 5 consecutive years. Calgary's been playing catch-up all afternoon, but poised to get back on even terms. 2nd and 4. And there's Rambo with a catch down to the 30. It's a first down.
Kenyon Rambo, before the snap, will move into the inside and try and set Dante Marsh up here. He's going to waggle down inside. And why is he doing that? Because he's running that timing out to the outside, and he needs a little bit more room on the sideline. So a couple hops down inside to the numbers, timing route, and a one-on-one with Dante Marsh, giving him a little bit of room, playing off him by 2 or 3 yards.
So 11 for the leading receiver during the regular season, and it's a first down at the 30. Taylor Johnson staying in the block. Burris has an open. Brett Ralph at the 10 and down to the 7-yard line. First and goal, Calgary at the 7 after a 24-yard grab by Brett Ralph.
And Kenyon Rambo without the football is influencing the defense now on this play, because Rambo's going to take not just Ryan Phillips deep, but he's going to also influence Dante Marsh on the outside. And there's also Glover. So Phillips now has to jump up. He takes him deep with that deep decoy route, and that leaves Ralph open out on the sideline.
The Stamps rejected BC down at the 1. Now the Lions dig in. First and goal from the 7. And Burris will be dropped back at the 10. Cameron Wake, the top defensive player in the West.
Last year in the Western Final, Cameron Wake had 5 sacks in that playoff game. Cameron Wake at the top of the line here. He's been working on Ben Archibald for most of the afternoon. This time it's Jeff Pilon, and he gets there.
So now it'll be second and goal from back at the 10.
All-Canadian, very close to a CFL record held by Quick Parker, 26 and a half. His 23 was banging on the doorstep. Won in the semifinal for Cameron Wake a week ago.
Held to 4 in 3 regular season games against that young Calgary offensive line.
But can the BC defense here on second down come up with a stop? Because if they can't, Mike Benavides' defense then hands momentum to the Calgary Stampeders.
Here we go, second and goal from the 10. Burris under the gun, look one way, and is in trouble. And Henry Burris is back at the 23-yard line. Tyrone Williams gets the sack.
There was a timing issue with that. After we went through the break, it looked like, I'm not sure if the players didn't get the snap count or they didn't see the whistle. You're going to see guys kind of stand up. Aaron Hunt right in the middle of your screen. He kind of stands up and then he said, well, wait, are we playing? Okay, we're playing. Then I'm coming. There's Tyrone Williams. He pushes up the middle and he'll end up getting the sack, but it didn't look right. The timing was off there at the beginning of the play.
You know, we should tell you there was a fan on the field. That's why we waited that long, and I think a Calgary fan really disrupted a little of that Calgary offense. But DeAngelis for the tie, and he puts it through. So they do get 3, and this game is even at 15 with 1:24 remaining in the third quarter. Coming up, Sunday Night Football. It's the Cowboys and the Redskins tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern, and Monday Night Football as Cleveland and Buffalo, and it's available on TSN HD. So the game is tied. The momentum with Calgary. Do the Lions get enough of a boost from that defensive stop? Or is it all in Calgary's favor right now?
It's in Calgary's favor right now. Thanks in part to Mike Labinjo on defense, and then that field goal to tie it.
Lions take it on their 35-yard line and hand it to Logan, trying to get outside. And unable to really turn the corner with much authority. They'll be brought down by Brandon Smith, so both Smith and Logan back in the game, and they lock up again.
Yeah, and I want to do honorable mention on the play to Charleston Hughes. Because Brandon Smith cuts him off, but Charleston Hughes from the backside hustled out there and showed some speed. So together, they limit the game.
Both had to be helped off after a big collision deep in Calgary territory earlier. 3 for Logan, 2nd and 7, and movement by the right guard, Shirko Hadji-Razuli. And I think Shirko is going to get tagged for the 2nd time today.
Procedure. BC number 55. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, 2nd down.
Little bit of movement from Dwayne Carpenter, number 29, the linebacker, to show like he might be blitzing, and that's where Shirko Hadji-Razuli dropped that foot back and got the procedure call.
Clock winding down in this 3rd quarter. BC looks at 2nd and 12. And Pierce flushed. Anybody home? Throws high and incomplete. Intended for Jason Claremont. Another 2 and out.
The Calgary defense here, Chris, is just the momentum has continued to build with this defense. It started with Mike Labinjo. It was Mike Labinjo down on the goal line. Looks like he's a little shaken
he's had
up.
elbow problems, and that left arm is hanging, which will be of concern.
But now the rest of that defense is flying around in a big way. Chris Jones' group, and they're young. They've got the momentum right now.
Final play. The Cal had a poor punt the last time, and this one will bounce down inside the 35. Winnipeg native Marcus Howell's got some running room. And BC's had problem covering, but there is a flag back inside the Calgary 50-yard line. And that looks like it will negate a 38-yard Howell return.
This is the other phase of the game that the Calgary Stampeders have won this afternoon and this evening. They've won on the teams.
Well, we'll sort out the penalty when we come back into 3 quarters here in Calgary. Always fresh, always.
And if we took the score out of there and you just looked at the first downs, you looked at time of possession, you would say the BC Lions have a big lead in this football game. But, boy, that Calgary defense have been impressive here, especially in this second half with a couple of goal line stands.
Well, that the back-to-back plays by Mike Labinjo are going to be talked about for a long time if Calgary ends up prevailing in this game. When it looked like Corey Banks' interception was going to be a difference maker in the game, Mike Labinjo said no.
Yeah, and it's sooner or later, Chris, the BC Lions, with the style of defense that Calgary has played all year and are playing in this game, they're up and they're aggressive. Sooner or later, the Lions have got to take some shots down the field. They're going to have to try and go deep on this football team and see if they can't get G-Roy Simon, Paris Jackson, a guy we haven't even talked about in this football game. They have to get him involved, see if they can make that big play and take an advantage of this aggressive defense for Calgary as Mike Labinjo gets some attention on the bench.
Again, a history of elbow problems for Labinjo. He's getting attention on the sidelines, and when we went to break, they called at the end of the 3rd quarter, and then they double clutched and actually ran one play, a Reynolds 3-yard gain after a holding call on the return. So as we reset here to start the 4th quarter, it will be 2nd and 7 Calgary at their own 44-yard line. There was a holding call on the return against J.R. Ruffin that negated that big scamper by Marcus Howell.
So far, Henry Burris has avoided the turnover, other than the Corey Banks interception, which didn't hurt him thanks to Mike Labinjo.
So again, 2nd and 7 from the 44. And over the middle goes Demetrius Summers. And a first down for Summers, who backs up Joffrey Reynolds.
High percentage play here for the Calgary Stampeders to get this offensive series continued. You got Henry Burris right here and in the middle of your screen. He's just going to be in that shotgun, and it's just that little dump off to Demetrius Summers, who's in for Joffrey Reynolds. And if not for some hustle from Brent Johnson on the backside, that's an even bigger game.
Summers has had a good afternoon, and now a crosser. Kenyon Rambo turns quarter. And is forced out at the Lion 43-yard line. The man who beat G. Simon on the final week for the receiving crowd in 2008.
He comes a long way on this play. There's Kenyon Ramble, the wide receiver. He works his way down, and then the straight crosser all the way across the field. And the linebackers dropping in that zone don't pick him up because he lined up at that wide spot.
A minute into the fourth quarter, Calgary has not led all day, but are threatening to take the lead now. Burris throwing this one up, and he is caught. Jermaine Copeland with the catch. Out at the 14-yard line.
Burris barely got this football out of his hands. He had pressure on him. Copeland has to regain himself. He's going to run the corner route here, and he has outrun the throw because of the pressure on Henry Burris. He gets in behind Ryan Phillips, who gets caught looking back in the backfield. Watch the hit that Burris is going to take from the BC Lions, Jamal Johnson.
But it's a 27-yard gain and a first down. Henry Burris stands in, goes over the middle, and Teo Johnson, the big tight end, has another Stamps first down. Or be very close. Let's see where they place it. They had to get to the 4-yard line.
You can tell that confidence is growing for the Calgary Stampeders and their offense. They're feeding off the defensive performance for 3 quarters.
They're going to rule second in less than a yard, and that might be a good thing for Calgary. They're going to get an extra play down there.
Well, conventional wisdom says run at least one time in this situation.
Henry Burris 9 of 13 here in the second half, and a surge ahead behind Rob Lazio, the Western All-Star center. And now they will get their first down.
Well, John Huffnagel's defense, we're in the very similar position in the third quarter with the Lions knocking on the doorstep, a chance to make it a 2-score game, and his defense stepped up. Now the question is, can the BC Lions defense do the same thing?
Well, you heard from Mike Labincho, and now 3 All-Canadian defensive linemen will dig in for BC. First and goal from the 3. And Burris is going to throw. Goal line incomplete. Intended for Lewis, and a late flag they're going to call on Jerome Dennis as he bumped Nick Lewis.
Pass interference. BC number 9. The result of the penalty, it becomes first down, Calgary on the 1-yard line.
It's the veteran Baron Miles that draws the flag.
Baron Miles is the guy who jumped up actually and ends up covering. He's just there. That's the right shoulder pad just in your screen. He's going to step out of it, but you'll see him in a second. See, he's right in the middle. He's going to step up. You're right, Chris. Jerome Dennis was right there with them, and Miles stepped up late. So they got the wrong number.
It was Dennis. And it is a first and goal at the 1. It wasn't automatic earlier. Burris, no surge, was back.
Oh boy.
And we've talked about this all season long. It hasn't been as easy as it looks.
Well, first of all, the Calgary Stampeders emptied the backfield and just left Henry Burris back there. And what they're hoping is that the Lions will empty some linebackers out of there. But Tyrone Williams, Aaron Hunt, Brent Johnson, they all reestablished the line of scrimmage about a yard back in the offensive backfield.
Brent Johnson got low, and he was hanging on and pulling back.
John Huffnagel just put in his regular offense with the tight end.
So now it's second and goal from the 1. And Burris keeps and scores. Touchdown, Henry Burris. And for the first time all day, Calgary leads.
And lead by a major. One guy that has to make the play is Javi Glatt for the BC Lions.
We do have a penalty marker. And did that come after the celebration?
Major foul, unnecessary roughness, BC number 90. 15 yards will be applied on the kickoff.
Aaron Hunt, and that lack of discipline will be costly.
Option play where Burris has a couple of options on the goal line to keep or to pitch. He kept it and got there.
3 touchdowns in the regular season for Burris. DeAngelis puts the extra point through. And it is Calgary by a touchdown in the fourth quarter. Join us for Grey Cup Saturday as TSN gets you ready for the big game with 8 hours of Grey Cup features, behind-the-scenes coverage, and pregame analysis. Live coverage from Montreal begins at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific. Montreal in the big game. Will it be Calgary or will it be BC? The Stampeders have finally grabbed the upper hand. And a kickoff from the 50. Ian Smart across the 25 and tripped up about the 28-yard line. Henry Burris has given the Stamps the lead.
Well, Javi Glad is the one guy that's got a scrape, and it is a game of inches, and sometimes it's just the inch. Watch this foot, the right foot of Javi Glad. Look, he steps forward. That causes him problems. Those 2 little steps forward gets him caught in the wash, and he can't get to his gap, which is the outside gap, and that's the guy who had to stop Henry Burris. He couldn't do it, so Burris took that little step. You see Glad takes a step in, he gets caught in the wash. There's the opening. Burris is in the end zone. That little couple of inch step forward cost Glad that play.
Just past the 4-minute mark. Fourth quarter, Stephon Logan backdoor. And Logan with a good run, first down, up at the 40-yard line. 11 more for Stephon Logan.
Well, the defense for the Calgary Stampeders, it's the trickle-down effect, Chris, because their momentum, the momentum they build by bending a little bit but never breaking down on the goal line. Michael Binjo, the leader in that group, and that now has trickled into the offense. A big series for Henry Burris. He ends up scoring. They have the lead by a major. Chris Jones' defense fired up. Can they do it again?
Well, the Lions offense struggling second half. Buck Pierce to work, and he's got an open man. Roy Simon still going all the way down to the 25-yard line. Nobody's made more big plays in the last 5 years, and Roy Simon's just made a huge one for the Lions.
Now, can this defense keep it up? Now with the momentum just like that, the Lions grabbing some. Roy Simon right over the middle, over and under routes. One guy underneath, Roy Simon over the top. And I love what he does at the end of the play. Kids, if you're playing the game in a big game, make sure you wrap up and hold that football when you're going to get tackled. That's what Simon does right there at the end.
Simon says 65 yards if it's a first down. But Pierce steps up. And Buck will carry, and waiting for him was the middle linebacker, Salim Rashid. Buck to the 21. I think that closed down quicker than he expected. And it ends up just being 2 for the Lions quarterback.
Well, because he had taken such a deep drop, Chris, Buck Pierce was about 7-8 yards deep. So the Calgary linebackers weren't that far off the line of scrimmage. That's why the gain was limited.
Bedlam at McMahon. Short drop, looking for Paris Jackson, incomplete.
And that was a mistake by the Lions because they had Paris Jackson and Roy Simon on the same sideline. Roy Simon ran a go route, and he ran basically to the same area on the field that Jackson ended up. Simon was the wide receiver, and he had bump on Brandon Browner, and I thought they were going to go fade to him down the side, which is what he ran, but you see Paris Jackson in the same area. That doesn't happen offensively. Receivers go to different areas on the field and spread it out.
Paul McCallum tries his 6th field goal of the day. The playoff record in the CFL is 7, held by Carlos Huerta. And McCallum good again. And now it's 22-18. 4-point game. Let's check back in with Jock Climby.
On that last series, the BC Lions went almost exclusively zone coverage, and Calgary and Henry Burris picked them apart. Hey, Nick Lewis from the sideline was telling me, hey, they're afraid to play us man-to-man, and yet, ironically, when BC was playing man-to-man, they were shutting them down. Let's see what happens in this series, guys.
We will watch for that, Jock. BC has just ended a 13-point run by Calgary. A 4-point Stampeder lead. Here's Summers again. Out beyond the 40 as we check in on the Lions bench with Matt Dunnigan.
I tell you, the BC Lions offense has been wanting to go vertical all second half, but in the 2 times they tried to, they got a sack and then they got procedure. And now G-Roy's gone vertical so many times on this guy, he's got the middle set up. That's why you saw G-Roy have success going over the middle. Look more for that here closing out this 4th quarter.
The plot thickens with 8.5 minutes to go.
And they'll have to get that ball back. We'll see what the BC Lions decide to do defensively here. If they go into zone defense and try and stay off the Calgary receivers, not give up the 1-play touchdown, the big play.
Kick returner Demetrius Summers down on the play will step out and be right back to the 2008 West Final. Henry Burris and the Stamps have a first down at their own 41-yard line. Just under 8.5 minutes remaining. And now with a 4-point lead. Up to Joffrey Reynolds over the middle. And that pass incomplete. Intended for Jermaine Copeland and Corey Banks there defensively.
Well, let's see. The All-Stars, as the Calgary Stampeders were calling them. In fact, Rob Lazio, the center for the Calgary Stampeders yesterday in the walkthrough, said, it's, I guess, a little bit like the pros against the Joes, with all the all-stars over there on defense for the BC Lions against just us guys. And we'll see who will prevail, because this is a key series in the game.
Veteran guy, just the last 2 years at center, and it's turned out to be a great position for Rob Lazio. 2nd and 10, pressure, and the pass complete. Ryan Thorwell, the former Lion, with a huge first down catch, dragged down by Jerome Dennis.
Well, we wanted to know what the BC Lions would do. Would they go zone defense or would they send man-to-man? Well, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4 up front. Watch. 2 more linebackers are going to come to make it 5 and 6. Here they come. It'll be Jamal Johnson on the blitz as well as Otis Floyd. You know what that means? It means man-to-man behind them. You can't blitz that many and then play zone behind it. So they do go with man-to-man. They go back. Dante Marsh misses the tackle, misses Stelwell on the sideline. And away Calgary goes.
First catch of the game for the former Lion, Thelwell. A first down and lots of steamboats to go back to Thelwell, but the pass skipped short. Ryan Thelwell had his career low this year, but 78% of his catches were for first downs or touchdowns, and his first catch of the day, a big one for 22 yards and a first down here in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, that was a tremendous stat when you looked at it, that how the Calgary Stampeders, you know, the guys that even played in a backup role, and Thelwell was that guy for a while, still contributed 18 of his 23 catches, you mentioned, for first downs or touchdowns. That's contributing even though you have limited touches.
Well, the ball in and around DeAngelo's range at the 47, but it's a big second down play, and they're on a field goal reach now. Dante Marsh, corner blitz, gets to Henry Burris.
Well, not just corner, Chris, because they bring up Corey Banks as well. So Mike Benavides setting the house at the Calgary offense, and George Cortez, I'm sure, didn't see this one coming. This is a big gamble because you're going to see a couple. Up here is Corey Banks, and over here, just out of your picture, is Dante Marsh. So Corey Banks is up there. Usually you just send one. There's Banks, the high guy, and underneath him is 31. And watch this. There he is right there at the top of your screen, hiding up there at the short side corner. He comes off the blitz. Unbelievable. That's a huge gamble by the BC defense that pays off.
Forces Burkdale's to punt. Smart at his 10, and a great downfield cover. Stamps limit the return.
So I guess I'll see you later. Taste the one that's forever young. Diet Pepsi. Oh! Taste the one that's forever young. Diet Pepsi.
Grey Cup, 1991. We made history. Hollywood hit the CFL. John Candy, Wayne Gretzky, and Bruce McNall bought the Argos. It was unbelievable. We took our show into Winnipeg for the Grey Cup and won the big one in front of 52,000 frozen fans. I couldn't feel a thing except for the thrill of victory. 1991. Never been one like it.
2008 Grey Cup is on TSN, and we have it covered like never before. Live pregame coverage begins at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific. Kickoff at 6 p.m. Eastern. The Grey Cup on TSN, presented by Wendy's. Sunday, November 23rd on TSN, and we can only hope it provides as much drama as this baby.
Well, whoever prevails here, be two talented teams in the Grey Cup. The Montreal Alouettes, the top team in the East all season long, had first place wrapped up about a month and a half ago. They advance out of the East, and BC or Calgary would be tremendous representatives out of the West. We got to finish here, folks.
Penalty against the Lions on the return, so they're backed up at the 5. Logan, and Logan upended by Shannon James just beyond the line of scrimmage. Number 42 has had himself an afternoon.
Boy, is he ever. The BC Lions had chances to put this game away early. Many opportunities, including right down on the goal line, where Mike Labinjo shut the door.
He has been the defensive star of the game. And we have Jason Jimenez, the Lions all-Canadian right tackle, down. And Bill Rochelle out to attend to him. Let's find out what happened to Jimenez. There was some discussion after the injury on either side.
Looked like he was engaged there with Dwayne Carpenter. Looked like he went over his own man, Haji Razuli. Got side of his knee there. He'll have to go out for 3 plays. And if the Lions can't get out of the shadow of their goalpost, Wally Guano will have to give up 2 to get field position back.
That would make it a 6-point game. Still keep them within a converted touchdown of the lead. Jimenez looks like he'll be able to continue.
Which is why I wouldn't be surprised that the BC Lions don't try and force the issue here.
Dean Valley comes in to play right guard, and Haji Razuli moves out to tackle on 2nd and 8. And Pierce from his end zone. Dangerous pass. O'Neal Wilson breaks the tackle and has the first down, and that's enormous for the Lions on a play that might have gone the other way into the end zone.
Boy, and is Buck Pierce growing up in a hurry as a playoff performer or what? Because, boy, you got to reach down, and this is as gutsy as you can be at the quarterback spot. He has a nice pocket to throw from. He just lost his right tackle, and he throws with pretty tight coverage by Dwight Anderson outside on Wilson.
Yeah, a little Dunnigan moxie from number 16. O'Neal Wilson's first grab of the day. And Pierce looking for more. And G-Roy Simon with this spectacular catch. All the all-star credentials are all over this catch.
You know, it's about composure at this point in a football game. Winner goes on, loser goes home. And you can see the composure in G-Roy Simon. How about the composure in the young Buck Pierce? And they go to that matchup on J.R. Ruffin.
He readjusted to the football, working against J.R. Ruffin. Comes up with 21. And now they've got some room to work at the 41-yard line. Pierce in trouble, tossed down. Guess who? Well, I guess they're We're cheering for you, Mike. What a show Labinjo's putting on.
Stand-up position for Mike Labinjo. And just enjoy it, Calgary fans. Little inside move on Rob Murphy, who's hanging on. They wanted a double move on the outside. Buck Pierce didn't get it, didn't have an open receiver, and didn't throw it away.
Rob Murphy gave up 5 sacks this year, 2 to Labinjo in the regular season. And Labinjo's adding to his totals here. So it's 2nd and 22. Pierce stands in, throws. Ryan Gleisbaum with the catch, but Brandon Smith makes sure it's not going to be anywhere near a first down.
But the BC Lions did get out of the shadow of their goalpost. They did get out so they get a chance to kick the football away, put their defense on the field. There is lots of time remaining in this game. In a lot of ways, that was a successful drive for Buck Pierce. They want to keep it a one-score game where a major is the difference.
There is a breeze at the back of McCallum. It has not been a huge factor today.
The return game's big for Calgary, though.
And Marcus Howell at the 28-yard line. He gets bounced at the 35, forward progress, 38-yard line. Let's head back down to Jock Climby. Okay, we'll get to Jock momentarily as Mike Labinjo gets a breather.
Little 0-2 on the sideline, why not? They're going to need him again.
Did play in the Super Bowl back in 2004 and said he was hyperventilating after the first play.
What a game.
He's leaving people breathless today. Godfrey Reynolds, nothing doing up the middle. Avi Glatt was there, and so was Tyrone Williams. As we tick down to 3 minutes, and they are going to give the 3-minute warning here in an exciting Western final from McMahon. Our game story brought to you by Molson Canadian. This is our beer.
Well, the first one, good news for BC. McCallum went 6 for 6. We could have put both logos on that, though, because it was good news for the Calgary Stampeders that the Lions didn't get majors there. Stephon Logan did his job. Burris has the game in his hands right now. And what a performance by Mike Labinjo.
And now big play, 2nd and 9. Trying to keep their hands on the football. Burris pressured, and he has a completion, has a first down, and Nick Lewis all the way down to the Lion 39-yard line. 31 for Nick Lewis.
Want to show you why Henry Burris knows he can go to Nick Lewis here. Watch the running back, Joffrey Reynolds here. He's going to move, and he's going to declare what the defense is. As soon as he moves, run it, guys. See, now he goes back and lines up again. When you see Jamal Johnson move, Henry Burris knows now that it's man-to-man defense because everyone's covering man, so he goes to Nick Lewis on the crosser. He's open for the first down.
Fresh set of downs. There are the numbers for Lewis on the day. And now the end round is dropped by Brett Ralph. He's back at the 50. Now hits the right way, but is dropped at the 43-yard line. So it'll be a loss on a gadget play that nearly blew up in the Calgary Stampeders' hands.
And this crowd just went from on the edge of their seat to standing and just to trying to catch their breath as that ball hits the turf. Looked like the handoff was a little high in the shoulder pad area.
You wonder if Brett Ralph snuck a peek at where number 91 was zeroing in on him. Dropped the ball and was fortunate to get it back and lose only 3, 2nd and 13. And Burris steps up, quarterback drawn. There's nothing there. At the 42-yard line now, John Huffnagel with the decision. Do you try a 49-yarder to make it a 7-point game? DeAngelis into the wind does come out. His first ever postseason field goal was a 52-yarder. And he's 5 for 6.
And with the wide field in the Canadian Football League, the guy right at the very top of your screen who's getting his way onto the field right now, right over there, is Ian Smart. And Smart will be in the back of the end zone. Should Sandro DeAngelis miss this, he almost, depending on the coverage, he might have the green light. I mean, at least the option to run it out. He's trying to get a signal right now from the sideline as to what to do.
Talk about home field advantage. The flags have gone still here, and it looked like they'd be going against the wind. And DeAngelis has missed, and Smart's going to bring it out. Ian Smart breaks the first tackle and runs it out to the 12-yard line. You a little surprised, 4-point lead?
Yeah, I am a little bit, Chris. Only that the momentum of the kick, because it was short, took Ian Smart to the goal line. Sometimes the coach will give the returner the option here. I realize where the score is, that single doesn't matter at all, and you get better field position. But if Smart is on his way out anyway, it's almost like he has to, because if he goes out and then goes back in, now it's a safety, and the Lions have to give the ball back to Calgary.
A week ago in Saskatchewan, in a far less critical situation, Buck Pierce drove the ball 11 plays, 100 yards to kill the clock. Tonight, he's got to drive 97 yards for the game-winning touchdown. And he wants a lot early. O'Brien, Grace Mullen, got it over Brandon Browner, over the All-Canadian. And are they really going to catch? I don't think so. And Grace Mullen arguing, and we may have to get a video challenge upstairs. Grace Mullen wants the flag, but Wally Bono can't throw the challenge flag.
Well, Brandon Browner turns to the football, and it's no question a catch.
That is a catch as he stole it out of the hands of Browner.
They're ruling it that it was not a catch, and Ryan Gricemelon got up in a hurry.
Excuse me, Glenn, they've got to go upstairs and get a review from up top.
Well, they do, and
Bob Redekop and Larry Rohan are upstairs, and they have to call down and tell Bud Steen to have another look at this.
No question.
Again, in the final 3 minutes, the coaches do not have the option of throwing the challenge flag, but it can be reviewed by the officials upstairs, and that's what's happening here.
And by the way, the reason for that is that if the coaches had the option inside of 3 minutes, they could essentially stop momentum by the opposition by just throwing a challenge that they know they won't win or whatever. But that's why the rule was put in place that it has to go upstairs. But I think this will be ruled a catch. It never, ever touched
off the ground. Knee, out of the hands of Browner, who could have had a game-ending interception.
How about the fight from Ryan Gricemelon, the rookie, against one of the best cover men in the Canadian Football League and the Calgary Stampeders' best cover man in the secondary, in Brandon Browner.
Almost wondering if he was down by contact or whether or not, if ruled a catch, he could have got up and run with that. The Lions will take this big gain if they can get it. The ball on the 13. And is this a catch up across the 45? What a valuable chunk of real estate at stake here with 90 seconds to go.
Calgary Stampeders defense keeps wanting to get back towards the original line of scrimmage and try and convince the officials that it wasn't a catch, but I think the replays that we showed you, there was no question that football did not touch the ground.
Please.
The BC player took the ball in his hands, it hit his knee, it remained above the turf. It is a completed pass. BC first down, 49-yard line.
They got it right.
And that's the reason for instant replay.
Turns out to be a 36-yard play.
Now the Lions may not come back and win this football game, but if they do, that's the importance of replay in football. Because that was the correct call in a key situation in the most most important game of the season for these two teams.
Well, Bryce Mullen over 100. And new light for the Lions. Clock ticking under 90 seconds to go. Buck going up top again. Jump ball. And this is intercepted. This time, Brandon Browner's got it. And Calgary on the verge of a trip to Montreal.
They may need one first down, Chris, but you're right. And Buck Pierce hurried the throw and made the type of mistake a young quarterback makes in a situation like this. He never set his feet. He launched it thinking that the pressure was there. It was actually pretty well picked up. And there's the pressure late coming off the edge, and he really didn't have an open receiver. He threw it into coverage. Brandon Browner lost the one-on-one battle to Bryce Mullen. A play ago. Wins it here.
Stamps take over at the 30. Reynolds on the ground. And he has 4. And you're right, a stop here. Buck Pierce could get one more chance. But the defense has to do their job now. You heard Matt Dunnigan say the Lions wanted to go vertical. It worked once, but the second time, Brandon Browner, the all-Canadian corner, came up with the interception.
The BC Lions need the quick stop here. Maybe get the football back just inside of a minute.
Lions called the timeout, stop the clock.
And I think what Buck Pierce had said on the sideline there when he went over was he made the right read to go deep there because it was all blitz. He had the one-on-one with the guy going straight to the hole in Wilson. Problem was he never set up. He never had that chance to set up and deliver it properly.
2nd and 6 from the 34. Play action fake. Burris steps up. Henry Burris has a first down. When it looked like it wasn't available, he found a seam and ran for 10. And the celebration is just about on here in Calgary.
Cameron Wake is beside himself thinking that he got held on the play. He's going to come with pressure from the outside right in the middle of your screen. He felt he was held there right at the point of attack.
Teo Johnson.
By Teo Johnson, threw his hands in the air like, what, are you kidding me? But it didn't matter. No penalty flag on the turf. Burris picks up a key first down.
Fellas, they're taking a knee.
In the final minute now, and the Lions can't stop it. Burris going to take a knee on first down.
John Hufnagel all year long, from the first day of training camp, was preaching to Henry Burris in order to get rid of those bad memories of the playoffs in the past. You just have to manage. You just have to control the game. You don't have to win it every play. You don't have to win it every series. It wasn't spectacular from Burris of this offense. The defense won it for Calgary, and so did the special teams, but Burris did that.
The Eastern nominee for outstanding player, Anthony Calvillo, led his team to the Grey Cup. Montreal Alouettes are there, and now the Western nominee for outstanding player. And John Hufnagel on the verge of their biggest ever playoff victories. 26 seconds to go, 3rd down.
And this baby went down to the wire and was a dogfight. And the knock on Burris, 1 and 4 in the playoffs. Could he win the big game? Could he be the quarterback to take his team to the championship?
Running the play clock down to 1. The timeout called, 6 seconds left. And now Burke Dales will come on.
Chris, Burris didn't win this game, but he didn't have to. Mike Labinjo led this team in this game.
But we talked about this earlier. John Hufnagel restructured this team where Henry Burris didn't have to win it by himself. He put a team around Burris, and Burris will come out and he'll have the responsibility of killing now 7 seconds. They put 1 extra second on the clock.
And the hero of this game is actually in the huddle right now. Mike Labinjo, number 42.
And Henry somehow will have to take the snap and kill 7 seconds to make sure they do confirm their reservation for Montreal. Mike Labinjo with 3 sacks and 8 tackles. 3rd down and 7 seconds to chew off the clock. And he heaves it high in the air, and it will fall with 1 second left.
Oh,
Can you believe this?
Hold on.
Can you believe this? The 1 second they put back up is enough for a free shot for Buck Pierce. And the celebration is definitely on hold.
Hold on 1 minute. And at this point in the field, the BC Lions, Buck Pierce, can throw it to the end zone or at least the goal line. Likely the Lions will load up one side to see if they can get that ball live in a tip ball situation and maybe leave Geroy Simon in a one-on-one on the opposite side. But one shot, and remember, a penalty gives you another play if the Stampeders were to get interference.
Potentially one of the worst strategic gaffes ever in the playoffs. But only if Buck Pierce can make them pay. One shot from the 40, unless there's a penalty. Pierce getting chased down. He's got to heave it to the end zone for the win. It won't happen. As the Calgary Stampeders are going to the Grey Cup. The playoff frustration is over. John Hufnagel has his first CFL playoff win as a head coach as he celebrates with George Cortez. And Henry Burris and the Calgary Stampeders will meet Montreal in next week's game, and Henry Burris is standing by with Farhan Lalji.
Henry, how hairy were those final seconds there? I know you thought you had 6 seconds. They put 1 second back on the clock.
I wish I would have known. I would have thrown a 7-second ball, but this is a hard-fought victory. I mean, to beat a great team like BC 4 times, and especially in this occasion, I mean, it means a lot. It was a hard-fought victory, though.
I saw the emotion when you scored, when you threw the first touchdown pass in the second quarter. You could feel there was a little pressure there for you. How much does this mean to finally get this win?
Well, it was finally to get in sync. That was the biggest thing for us because we were sputtering along. Our defense did a great job of keeping us in it. And once we're able to get Rambo in that situation, I mean, Marsh, man, he's a great D-back, and we're able to make a good play, throw a good ball, and get us going, and that helped us get this big victory.
The defense did it all in the first half, but you had 187 yards in the second half. Just talk about finding that groove and getting that confidence.
I mean, that was a big thing. I mean, against a defense like BC with the front 4 in the secondary, you got to find your groove as quickly as possible. And we're able to finally get in it and take good care of the ball, except for the one. I mean, you never want your receiver to stumble on a route, but it happened. We're able to come back just as we have all season and get the big victory.
Last thing I want to ask you is look ahead to Montreal and a chance to play for the big one.
Well, they're a great team, and hey, they had a great victory today, and we're looking forward to it. We're going to enjoy this and get ready to head to Montreal.
Thanks, Henry. Congratulations. Enjoy the win.
Hey, thanks a lot, big man.
All right.
The best quarterback to never play in the Grey Cup game is headed to the 2008 National Championship. A touchdown pass, the one he referenced there to Kenyon Rambo as he celebrates with one of his bodyguards, Rob Lazio. And he also scored one on the ground as he took care of business offensively, and Mike Labinjo and the defense were spectacular here today. They did not allow the Lions to get into the end zone once.
Yeah, a huge moment for Henry Burris without question. I mean, how many times, Chris, have we talked about in football where quarterbacks' careers are defined by championships, winning and losing championships. Henry Burris had put together such a great resume throughout his career, now gets a chance to go and take his team, lead his team to the show. Yeah, he didn't win this game. Without question, it wasn't Henry Burris in the offense. It was John Hufnagel's defense, led by Chris Jones, that bent in this game but didn't break. The goal line stand was enormous.
Let's go back to Farhan Lalji and one of the heroes of the day, Mike Labinjo.
Mike, I want to ask you about the third quarter. They had 2 drives inside the 5-yard line, 1 on the goal line. You made big plays on both. Talk about those plays.
You know what? You know, our offense was, you know, they're having a rough day today. You know, BC's defense stepped up, and, you know, our coaches told us that, you know, no matter what happens, just hold them to 3 points and And we knew that if we could get a big stop there, that our offense could come back and win this game.
First half as well, you guys bent but didn't break. With all the talk about BC's defensive line, how much did you take that as a challenge to show who the best defensive linemen were?
We took it as a serious challenge. Like we kind of, all year, we hear about BC's front four, how they're leading the league in sacks. But you know what? At the end of the day, we're the number one defense against the run, and we're the number one defense overall. And we want to take it upon ourselves this game to show that we're the number one defense and number one D-line.
You've been to a Super Bowl. Now you get a chance to go to the Grey Cup. Describe your emotions.
I'm super excited. Calgary's been waiting for this for a few years. And, after losing in the first round the last 4 years, it's a special feeling to go out to Montreal. And, it's going to be the best against the best. So we're really fired up and we're looking forward to it.
Thanks, Mike. Enjoy the week.
All right, thanks a lot.
Let's all celebrate and have a good time. We gonna celebrate and have a good time. It's time to come together. It's up to you. What's your pleasure?
Let's go down to center field. Here's TSN's Dave Rendorf.
Thank you very much. This was a tough, physical, intense West Final. But ladies and gentlemen, it is your Calgary Stampeders who are going to Montreal to play for a Grey Cup. Please join me in welcoming the Commissioner of the Canadian Football League, Mark Cohan, as he presents the West Final Championship Trophy. Mr. Commissioner.
Thank you. I'm excited to present the West Division Final Trophy to your hometown heroes, the Calgary Stampeders. See you in Montreal. I got a touchdown.
From tomorrow from Olympic Stadium. Thanks again for being with us today. Have a safe trip home.
I'm here with Jawan Armour. And Jawan, I want to get your thoughts on what was a real physical battle and a game that will be remembered for a strong defensive performance.
Well, we take pride in our defense and stopping the run, and BC did good things today. They were able to run the ball, but we held them no touchdowns. And with offense like ours, sooner or later it's going to start clicking. We have a high-powered offense, and we trust those guys. We never panic, and we just stayed. We did our job, and the offense came around. They did theirs.
You're going back to Montreal, the first time Calgary's been in the Grey Cup since it was last in that city. You're going to face the Alouettes. Let's get your thoughts.
Well, Anthony Calvillo's a seasoned veteran, one of the better quarterbacks in the league, but we take pride in what we do on our side of the ball also. So, we're going to go in there with intentions to run and hit and do what we usually do.
See you in Montreal. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Number one.
Thank you, David. Time now for the TSN Turning Point.
No question here. We go to the goal line stand. The BC Lions had the chance to make it a 2-score game, and not once but twice. Mike Labinjo shut the door down on the goal line. The Calgary Stampeders held the BC Lions to a field goal. The 2 outstanding player nominees are going to the Cup. The 2 Ricky head coaches in the CFL are going to the Cup. The 2 best in the Canadian Football League are going to the Grey Cup.
The TSN Turning Point brought to you by the 2008 GMC Sierra Professional Grade. Well, the visitors won last week in the Alouettes, and the first time they have met in a Grey Cup since 1970. John Hepnagel celebrates as Calgary prevails 22-18. Hope you enjoyed the East and West final. We'll see you in Montreal. SportsCenter is next.